Well, top of the morning and or evening, depending on which part of the world, the globe that you are viewing and enjoying and spending your time with me and the Truth Seekers. I want to thank you first and foremost for joining us yet again for a magnificent, omnipotent episode. We have a slammer, we have a banger for you tonight, but I have to go ahead and start with a serious disclaimer, all right? Ladies and gentlemen, I really want to say that this is going to be some seriously highly offensive material that's going to be on this live stream tonight. And I can't stress it enough. The video, I had to edit this video, and this is obviously the Glendon Cameron situation. We're going to break this down in 1 second, but I just really need to let you know and make this very, 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 very clear that there's going to be some serious content matter told tonight that's going to be disturbing to say the least. It's going to be a bit hard to hear, but I thought about this for a while and I said, "What? I need to do this, right?" I thought about this and I was hesitant at first because it is such graphic and disturbing content, but once again, there's a need to do this. This is the honest truth. And so long as we continue to do and have this theme of this message, that's what we're going to go ahead and do, right? So let's go ahead and get it started off first and foremost with some news, just with some light news, but I had to start that off before we even get there, right? So some light news for us. I'm going to try and do this in a minute or less. I got a timer here. And with the song. So let's go ahead and start right about now. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. So good to see y'all today. A woman finds a giant 4-carat diamond at a U.S. state park, and she gets to keep it. That's right. Noreen Redberg found the gem on September 23rd trip to the crater of a Diamond State Park in Murfreesboro, Arkansas with her husband. Apparently she's from California. Messed that one up. It's a 4.38 carat yellow diamond she found while visiting the crater of Diamond State Park. I need to go there. Jesus, apparently if you find a diamond, you can keep it. Arkansas is the only state in the country that has a diamond mine open to the public, said Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism Secretary Stacey Hurst. Well, congratulations to her. Congratulations to her husband, to the family. They've struck gold, and I'm a bit jealous, but congratulations to them. On to our next story. Ozzy Osbourne said this, ladies and gentlemen. Ozzy Osbourne said that after he contracted cerveza 19, he claims that Satan protected him from the virus. I didn't make it in time. Satan protected Ozzy Osbourne, ladies and gentlemen, from cerveza 19 pandemic. All jokes aside, Ozzy Osbourne is thanking Lucifer for protecting him from the cerveza virus. You can read the rest of that, I'm sure, if you have some time. Check that out for yourself. All right. Shout out to Mr. Ozzy Osbourne right there. Last news article of the day comes to us from DJ Academics. What you're going to go ahead and see in a few moments here is a few rappers destroying a Bentley Continental GT. That's right. Bentley Continental GT, a car worth a couple $100,000, but you know, once you got some money and you know, you can do things like that at that point, right? So enjoy that. That's our hip-hop mainstream media news and culture for the evening. Let's go ahead and dive into the last portion of the news today, which is indeed the national day or holiday. Today is Maha Navima. All right, it's October. I got the right month this time. I missed the music, so well, let the music play out this time. Celebrated in October, according to Hindu mythology, this was the day when the goddess Durga slew Mahishasura, the buffalo demon. So shout out to them. It's National Dessert Day also. One of my favorites today. I like that. World Sight Day. I'm laughing internally. It's an inside joke on my channel here. A few people out there know what I mean. Shout out to them. And World Standards Day. I have no idea what this means, but it's a awareness for the world economy. All right. That's going to do it for all of our daily articles. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now joining us, another huge disclaimer. This is not going to be a family-friendly episode. If you do have children listening or watching right now, I would strongly caution and advise you to go ahead and, okay, the music isn't helping. I turned the music off. I would strongly advise you to go ahead and turn this off. All right? Strongly advise you. All right? This is going to be the final warning here. We have 156 people watching. We have 74 likes. Let's get a couple more likes up. As I'm talking, I'm not going to be able to see your comments, but we're going to open up the panel. We'll have it Zoom format like last time. If you have Zoom on your phone or on your computer, or if you don't have it, you're going to have to download it. But if you have it, I'll have the link up as well as the password when I'm done talking about what I'm talking about today. So If you're new on this channel, and shout out to all the new subscribers and the new ladies here, then I need to go ahead and let you know something about what I speak about and what we speak about so often on this channel. And for our OG members, you're going to understand a lot of this, but this is going to be a new level of ignorance that I couldn't even begin to comprehend or describe to you. And so the best and the easiest way to go ahead and get started today is with another message before a message. The entire Manosphere, and this is something that is a group of men, essentially a coalition of men that come together for the liberation of women online. All right. So the Manosphere is quite literally built on a foundation of narcissism, mental ineptitude, and pedophilia, which is what we're talking about today. In part 2, I did this video, part 1, which is a few months ago. I think it was in March, as a matter of fact, called the Pedophillic Manosphere. Right. So in part 1, I mentioned a YouTuber by the name of Coach Greg Adams. And Coach Greg Adams is a red pill Manosphere content creator who preaches about living a free agent lifestyle. That means that living your own single life as a man, pumping and dumping women, whether they be in serious life issues or whatever it might be, predicaments as it might seem, and just going out there and just sowing your royal seeds, sowing your royal oaks, right? Because that's what your job is to do as an enlightened man, now that you see just how bad women are in modern day society, right? So I made this video talking about one thing that he believes in all the time, which is that older men deserve to date younger women, and they should be able to date younger women, and that society should start seeing as more normal for 18-year-old girls, for 18-year-old junior college campus students, which is what he often jokes to or alludes to. And so far so to the fact, as a matter of fact, that in his live streams, he has a sound effect where he presses a button and the angels from heaven sing, in reference to him mentioning the fact that, hey, the junior college campus girls are legal and they're a lot more easier to deal with, right? And so I made this video in March, months ago, and when I hear about the Glendon Cameron situation, if you're unfamiliar, you're going to hear about it in a couple minutes, the edited video version, and if you're disturbed by the edited, just imagine listening to the unedited version, right? So the video you're going to hear in a second, I mean, I did editing on it, I had to. Anyways, so going back to this entire pedophilia thing, this is already something that I've really seen grow inside of the hearts and minds. But today we're actually going to make the comparison and the connection to what Glendon Cameron says, and not only what he says, but what he believes in, and the content creators that he's affiliated himself and his message with, right? And of course, it leads us back to no other than Mr. Scamuels himself. So buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get started. Let's get started today. Glendon Cameron. Background. This is him. He's a YouTuber. He's got a channel called The Corporate Citizen. He talks about money, I assume. Tries to make himself to be a high-value man, I assume. He's got a couple videos here. One's called The American Dream is Not Dead, but Great Reset is on and popping, dooming essentially doomsday rhetoric, how to make $1 million profit in 1 year. I was listening to a couple of other YouTubers talk about him, and they were like, well, he's pretty much just another, hey, I'll teach you how to get rich if you pay me, right? Pay me and I'll teach you how to get rich type thing. I don't know what he's about, but he's got 104,000 subscribers, right? So that's what he does, and that's why he's important for the time being until we start playing this video. Let me know if the volume's okay or if the volume's too loud. Let's dive into the video today, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, shout out to all my moderators. Shout out to all the people watching. Thumbs up in the building. And here we go.
Is a moment for self-reflection. Matter of fact, let's shed a little light on this subject. I could have been a predator, and I am a little sympathetic to R. Kelly. I know that sounds really, really crazy, but hear me out. I guess I need to start with what I've done.
All right. So before we get really into this, what we often see and what often goes undiscussed or untalked about in these conversations is the fact of the matter of the angles and just the entire myriad of pressures and dangers that young girls and children have to grow up in as far as an unprotected environment. And so what you're getting ready to listen to today is particularly fascinating because it's going to speak to you from the outside of looking in on those situations, right? So this is very much needed, and this is why you're not seeing a a lot of manosphere content creators. You're not seeing a lot of black men who are more conservative or righteous or traditional in their values, if you will, quote unquote, right? Really talk about this situation or give it the light that it needs to be given, because this type of person right here is exactly why there's always going to be a detriment or a lack or an ineptitude in the growth of black communities. This is exactly it right here. So what you have is a man who's sitting in somewhat of a nice car. It looks like a decent sports car here, right? He's sitting in a decent sports car, and he makes a decent amount of money, it would seem. Right, we think he makes a decent amount of money, but once again, the mindset is what we're going to pay attention to as we continue going forward. So make sure the volume's okay. I'm gonna play this a bit.
When I was doing my Craigslist protocols hot and heavy, I would get a ton, I mean a ton of high school girls answering my ads. And typically I ignored them, because even though I have a similar appetite to R. Kelly, I like young women, but I don't like children. But this is how.
So I'm gonna stop that. I like young women, but I don't like children. So one thing that these men always say is that it's natural to like younger women. I'm going to play you a video really quickly before we continue going here. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just not joining, this is not for children. This is mature audiences only on this one, all right? But I'm going to play you a video, and this is not solely a black issue. I need to be very clear about that. This is not solely a black issue. We can see this happening on all points or within all points of the manosphere, 1000%. Okay, so I'm going to show you this video. I know you just heard it a second ago, and it's going to be from a Latino man who's also a red pill content creator with a couple of 100,000 subs. Right. The name of this video is how to get younger girls. Right. There's two parts I want to play. I'm going to start with the first. Our OG members have already heard this, so bear with me, but it needs to be done.
Okay, surprise, surprise, right? It's your mindset. That is the #1 secret, because a lot of you guys who cannot date women even just 5-10 years younger than you, the thing that's stopping you is your mindset. Okay, your mindset is in the wrong place. Your mindset is telling you that you're too old. Your mindset is telling you that you're past your prime. Your mindset is telling you that this girl is your daughter's age. You can't date her. She could be your daughter. That is the #1 thing that is stopping you, is your mindset. Okay? The difference between your mindset and my mindset is my mindset doesn't think that way. That never enters my mind for a second, thinking like, oh, this girl is way too young, or oh, this girl, she could be my younger sister or my daughter. I don't think that for a second. I'm like, this is a mature woman. I'm a man. She's a girl, right?
I'm a man. I'm a man. She's a girl. I'm a man. She's a girl. So what he was saying was, if you're having a hard time dating younger women, sorry for the ear destroy right there. If you're having a hard time dating younger women and you're older guy, it's because in your mind's stopping you. So you just gotta, switch off your mindset and just go ahead and, understand she's a mature girl. She's a mature girl. He makes videos like this, right? You won't believe what the latest study says about women. This is why you never marry divorced women. Women will never respect you if you talk to them. Latino girl chooses abuse to. So this is a very common normality in the manosphere, right? Let's go ahead and go back to our interview here, and we're going to continue and press on. So this man's a part of the manosphere as well.
How a child tricked me. Typically, they would be young. There would be lots of signs that this girl was very, very young. And I would just ignore them. Then this one girl, she answered that. We started to talk, and she was an exceptionally mature 17-year-old. Let me say this.
All right, so we're going to stop there. She's an exceptionally mature 17-year-old. So what you heard from the last guy, the guy who was just speaking, Latino man before, was that, oh, well, you know what? Don't think of her like a girl, like you're an old man and she's a girl. Just think of her as a mature girl, right? And so you hear the same parallel beliefs in what you just heard from the Latino man to what this black gentleman is saying right here. So the manosphere, the black manosphere, it's all intermingled. It's all tied into one. Now, the reasons for the white manosphere being created versus the reasons for the black manosphere being created are similar, but they're different in and out of that. But still, the foundation, the baseline is fundamentally the same in this case, particularly, which is that predation needs to be normalized, and that if you really truly try to call them out, or if you go into their panels and talk to them about how going after an 18-year-old girl or a 17-year-old girl, or you'll hear later in this video a 16-year-old girl, if you try to chastise them or hold them accountable for essentially what is Pedophillic, or however you say that word, beliefs, then you're demonized on their platform, right? And you're seen as, a simp or a white knight, or, a guy that's trying to save a girl that doesn't want to be saved, or something along that nature, right? Something along those lines. And so what they're trying to do is normalize, all right? They're trying to normalize the idea of predation, the idea of going after younger women who are more mature girls, right? Let's continue.
Again, this chick was 17. Her conversation was different. She actually was a hairdresser, and she answered my ad, and I picked her. And oh my God, she had these amazingly firm double D.
All right, so this is gonna be. I really struggled figuring out whether or not I wanted to play this video on here, because this is brutal, right? This is absolutely brutal. But I need to play these videos for y'all because you need to understand the type of people, the type of men, the type of animals that we have rolling in communities, right? And this is why I always talk about value, right? I'm going to keep playing this video in 1 second, I promise. This is why I talk about value so much. What you have is a guy here who probably has a decent amount of resources. He's doing okay for himself, it looks like, right? That's what it looks like. I don't know what his life is. But judging based off of what he's shown, he's doing okay for himself. But once again, when you talk about somebody who is probably the scum of the earth, who has as little value as a person can have, it's a guy like this, right? So money is only so valuable, right? But in the wrong hands, money can be worse than having no money at all. And this is a primetime situation. So let's continue.
That should have been my clue, because when she would lay on her back, that should have been my clue. But, I was caught up in the delicious, and she did everything I wanted her to do. Then one of the things that I would do is I would do social media search on all my chicks, just out of curiosity. So I'm like doing my social media search, and I find her Facebook page, and I see her with her high school friends. And I'm like, oh. So I call her up and I ask her, because, she told me she was 21. That's what she told me. And I was like, serious question. And at this time, I had this chick 10, 15 times. And you cannot a chick.
Now, this is a 17-year-old girl, okay? It's a 17-year-old girl, all right? Once again, if you're new to this channel, if you don't understand, or if it's your first time here, whatever it might be, if you just can't grasp the concepts that I speak about or why I speak the way I do, I'm not speaking about any group of, I'm not speaking about just an entire race of men, as a collective or whatever it might be. What I'm trying to identify is a growing majority problem within a group of men. Most of the time I talk about black men because I'm a black man myself. That's what I know the most about, right? But this is a problem, once again, why I showed clips of other races of men that believe the same thing, right? So going back to this, this man speaks about a 17-year-old girl in a way that's so crazy that it really, I've heard a lot of things, but man, I've heard a lot of things, but this is one of the worst things I think I've heard as far as Manosphere points of view. I've heard a lot, man.
And I was like, I need you to tell me something. How old are you? And then she got very silent, and she said, I'll be 18 in 4 months. Then she also said the age of consent in Georgia is 16, so you're good. So she comes over and we have this conversation because she was everything that I liked. I like women who 5'3", she was 5'2". She had huge, little waist, fat ass, pretty toes. She was my prototype, even though she was extremely young. And
we talked about the Manosphere being passport bros, right? They believe in getting your passport, going to travel overseas. They believe in going to, the Dominican Republic or some other Latin American country so they can go and be wild and festive because they have a hard time getting women over here. And we showed video clips of women who are adult escorts or minor escorts in this case, who are in the adult life. And they speak about the fact that they're desired highly because foreigners like minors, right? And so it's no coincidence that men like this are a part of Passport Gang, and they preach about, get your passport so you can go to Brazil, so you can travel, so you can live life, so you can be with submissive women and this and that. All right. We know why that happens a little bit more when you watch videos like this, right? It makes a lot more sense, right? I'm not gonna say that. We'll continue here for a second.
You know what I kept doing? I kept fucking her. Because I was like, at this point, I fucked her 15 times. And it was just like, the crime was done. So I just kept fucking her from she was 17 to 22. And R. Kelly and I are similar, but we're very different. Because I have safeguards. I know when I'm getting out of control. And I kind of ran analysis on this. And she was older. Her parents weren't breathing down her neck. And this is how a lot of young girls end up with older dudes. Their parents are not heavily involved in their lives, where they have the time and the freedom to get away with this stuff. And her parents didn't check her. She'd go out. She'd spend the night out. Her parents were like, she came home alive. Cool.
All right. Another big issue, obviously, here, right? No parents. This is obviously a very common issue in the black communities, and this is why it's another very disturbing aspect of the Manosphere really embracing this idea that you can date down to the bare minimum, or in this case, consensual or non-consensual statutory grape in this case, right? Apparently, in the state that he's in, it would have been okay for her and him to sleep together if she was 16, right? Because, of course, that's the legal, or that's, I don't know what the hell at this point, right? So, the disturbing thing about this, right? And he goes on to mention, I can't even really say that right now, to be honest with you. I can't really say that right now. Give me 1 second. I'm just kind of reading y'all's comments. She probably wasn't even 17, Divine Blossom says. He just added a few years to her age to make it more acceptable. Probably. Truly Yours says he was tricked. Yeah, right. Yeah, that's insane, man. He was tricked. I don't know why he made this video, Sherelle. I have no idea. He took the video down. Actually, he took it down today. And so I'm happy I downloaded it. Jasmine J says, who bets he's lying? Definitely knew. You talk to any 17-year-old for 10 minutes and you can tell they're underage. Absolutely. I mean, it's no contest, man. Mrs. B 757 says Kevin Scamuels talks about getting younger women. Yeah, he talks about that all the time. He definitely does. All the time. All the Manosphere talks about getting younger women, right? So you can check out part 1, the Pedophillic Manosphere, and they all joke about getting women in college, junior college girls. I mean, they joke about having the youngest possible girl that you can have. They joke about it, right? Literally, man. Literally. I see y'all's comments. Y'all's comments are funny. Okay, let's move on here. Watch a couple more minutes of this video here. This is cringe, man.
Her parents were not on her. So I didn't have to worry about catching a charge from the parents. And once again, we just kept doing our thing. From 17 to 22. I f***ed this chick for 5 years. And I ain't ashamed at it at all. She was willing. She wanted it. And here we come to R. Kelly. R. Kelly is being portrayed as a predator, right? Did he hold a gun to these women's heads? Years and years ago, back before the internet, I saw the R. Kelly tape. If you remember, there was a VHS tape that was sold around in barbershops, and it was him. He was
okay. I never heard this before. Okay. I don't know if y'all heard that. I'm gonna have to rewind that. He said that the R. Kelly VHS tape was sold in barbershops. Hold on.
I saw the R. Kelly tape. If you remember, there was a VHS tape that was sold around in barbershops.
Yo. I don't even know, yo. That's crazy. So this is crazy, yo. Once again, I know this is graphic, ladies and gentlemen. This is pretty brutal to listen to. But once again, we have to show these videos because it's very important. It's imperative that you know the type of people that are in this world. And I got the question, and once again, I want to address this question that I got last time. And there was a lady that asked me, she was like, why do you talk about such horrific news articles, in the live streams, and it's really happy and upbeat and this, that. I placed those news articles, those horrific, atrocious, terrible happenings in the very beginning because I want y'all to understand that these people are very real, right? And I want y'all to understand that what we talk about on this channel, as much as they'll try and dissuade you that what we speak about is blasphemy, and what I talk about is what I talk and how I talk is pandering, whatever they want to say about it, make no mistake about it, this is where a lot of their minds are at, by the millions, okay? By the millions. Naturally, if you have no problem with promoting the idea of going for the youngest woman possible, legally possible, and you're willing to take that down all the way down to apparently 16 or 17 in Georgia, right? If you're willing to do that, then that tells me that you'll still see a girl at age 13 or 14 or 15 and will almost be ready to groom, right? Or be ready to kind of just swoop her up when she's of that legal age. As soon as she turns 16, then she'll be good to go, right? So this entire notion that, we like young women because they're more fertile, we like young women because it's scientific, we like young women because of this, because of that, that's not the case at all, right? That's not the case at all. Most of these guys who are in their 40s and 50s aren't looking to have children anyways, so that's a complete excuse. What they do like is the ability to try and, once again, groom girls, and apparently wait until that moment of time to where they're old enough, right, to where they finally decide, like he said, how old are you, by the way? I want to make sure that you're of the right age after they've already been together, right? I'm just trying to make sure, right? And there there are a lot more men like this than you think, right? So I'll just say that for now. I gotta be really careful with what I say, so it's not hate speech.
And it was him. He was peeing on this girl. He was having sex with it. It was 100% him. And this is where R. Kelly went wrong. R. Kelly was a good-looking man. R. Kelly had fame. R. Kelly was rich, and he was reckless. See, he has that appetite. And I'm going to try to explain this appetite to you guys who don't have this appetite. Because the normal man doesn't have this appetite. But
the normal man,
there is something special about a young girl who's doesn't have a lot of miles on her. She doesn't have a lot of experience. I remember this chick, she was 22, and she did not have a lot of sexual experience when we started messing around. And I pulled out my dick and
all right. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I apologize, but this has to be discussed today, right? This has to be discussed today. One of the guys that he ended up mentioning later on in this video is a guy by the name of Rom Willis. I'm not sure if it was at the very end of the video. I'm not sure where exactly it is, but he said a huge shout out to Rom Willis and somebody else, right? Somebody else. I was reading some comments. I wanted to take the time and really just sit back and let this marinate and read and listen to what people had to say about this before I decided to start talking about this, right? So I've listened to a lot of the comments. I listened to a lot of men that are sticking up for this guy. I listened to a lot of people that believe that he really didn't do anything wrong and that he was simply in his legal rights or within his legal limits. I've heard everything, right? I've heard people obviously saying that he's the representation of Satan in human form. But I didn't hear anybody addressing the connection or the immediate connection that he has with the Manosphere. So there's a video that he did But before we kind of get to that video, I'm going to show you his connection on his channel. So if we go to his About section on his channel. Hold on one second. Okay, well, maybe not. I'm trash. Trash, y'all. I'm trash. I'm messing it up. Okay, give me a few more seconds, y'all. Try and find what I had here. Well, I don't know if I have the link. I did not prepare as well as I thought I did. I did not look at it. All right. So I'm going to try and find it on YouTube really quickly. Give me a couple seconds. Give me 59 seconds. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you like the video, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now joining. I am trying to get my unpreparedness back in line. Okay, I believe I found it, yo. I believe I found it. Not too bad. We recovered quickly. Just had to put the effort and put the time in. All right. All right, you know what? I was going to show them, but on second thought, I'm not going to even show them because I don't want to give them any clout. So I'm just going to go back to my original point here. Trash right now, yo. Pure trash. It's cool with this cat named Ron Willis. Ron Willis is a part of the Manosphere. So he shouted the dude out. They're very close. Ron Willis has worked with Donovan Sharp and all those other guys, right? Donovan Sharp's worked with Kevin Scamiel. So this is the Manosphere, right? Just take my word for it here. We're going to go back to the video. Go back to the video because I'm not going to give any of these dudes any clout or any shine, right? 319 people watching. That's incredible to me. 319 people watching. Good to see y'all. Back at this video. Here we go. Baby.
She was like, you think that's going to fit? Jesus. So I knew that this girl had not had a lot of sexual experience. And there is something special about fucking a chick who doesn't have a lot of sexual experience. Because everything you do to her is fun. It's all brand new. And if you've got that type of appetite, it can be insatiable. Like R. Kelly could have had the baddest adult chicks he wanted. But R. Kelly had that appetite. And this appetite could be the downfall of many, many men. Because, you know, I'm not judging because I'm in a part of the kinky community. But R. Kelly's allowed his appetite to literally wreck his life. Because once you get into...
So he's describing pedophilia as having an appetite, right? An appetite. Having an appetite.
To orchestrating a trafficking syndicate. What does this mean? R. Kelly was having other people find and vet girls for him. And that's when it got out of control. This is the reason that I never got caught, because I never brought anyone else into my circus, so to speak. When I was doing it, was just me and the girls. Never ever brought anyone else in the circus. But here's my problem. He's being portrayed as a predator, right? Here's the thing. Remember when I started this video and I told you I had all these high school girls answering my Craigslist ads? Did I have a gun to their head? Did I ask them to reply to my ads? They were searching this out. So
there's a YouTuber by the name of Mahogany Pink, and she broke down the hypersexualization of black girls, or the developmental cycle as far as sensuality goes within black girls developing into black teens and then to black women, right? And because there's such a demand for a decent type of black man or traditional type of black man, what it does is it instills this sense of uber competition, so to speak. And this is subconsciously, this isn't on purpose or in an act of vengefulness on behalf of black women, but it triggers this subconscious effect of maybe a certain level of competition or a certain level to compete, or the need to compete for a qualifiable or a qualified black male, because there's so little of them, because there's so few of them, right? And so she broke this down perfectly. Just YouTube Mahogany Pink, and her channel will pop up. She's got a couple 100,000 views on a video she did a couple weeks ago. It's brilliant. And so what we see here is essentially predation in its most sickening form, right? He claimed that this isn't predation. Well, this isn't me being a predator. This isn't predatorial, because they approached me. They saw me first. When in reality, we know that if you grow up in hell, essentially you would do what you have to do to survive. There's no telling what the background of a lot of our, God, that candle was hot. There's no telling what the background of a lot of our girls are going through, right? Actually, we know the background that a lot of them are going through. So much so that we've affectionately dubbed it Blackistan, right? So we know what's going on in the black hoods and the black communities, and in the areas where you don't have infrastructure, where you don't have help, where you don't have any outlet, when you don't have any resources. We know what happens and what goes on. And so he's trying to make it seem like a 17-year-old girl or 15-year-old girl's contacting him is their fault, because that's just what they wanted to do, right? When there's no telling what kind of situation they have living at home, or whether they even have a home to live at. There's no telling. And this is the reality. And I've seen this reality for myself. I've seen it for myself. A lot of you have seen it as well, right? This is why it's so important to start elevating the black dollar circulation from 6 hours to 24 hours. This is why it's so important to go back and build communities inside of your community, because this happens, and this happens all the time. But when you don't have any outlets, when there is no protection, when there are no brick and mortar businesses that are built specifically for the children, when there are no outreach centers that are made specifically for the children, when you have millions of men fight you for the belief that this is okay, or that this is natural, or that this is scientific, and that we should just approve it as society, when you're trying to fight all those different elements, then the kids are ultimately the ones who are going to pay, right? The kids are ultimately going to pay. No matter who's right or wrong, the kids are paying. And this is the worst thing about it. To a lot of these guys, there's no convincing them that this is their views in the manosphere, their views on single mothers, their views on children. There's no convincing them that this is wrong, right? And so once again, their own destruction, the destruction of their youth, the destruction of the next generation, the future generations, the future black children who don't have anything, who don't have any protection, right? The children who men like this go after is literally taken due to their negligence. Once again, a problem in the fact that they claim all women are promiscuous. All women are this. All women end up being sluts by age 16, whatever it might be. They directly contribute to it by not going back as high earners, by not going back as solidified groups of men, by not going back as a band of brothers to start rebuilding, to start building brick and mortar businesses, right? There's nothing to do. Idle hands are the devil's playgrounds. What are you going to do to survive? If you're a 15-year-old girl, and there are girls like this out here by the hundreds of thousands. If you're a 14-year-old girl, and there's nobody looking after you, literally nobody looking after you. You might have a mother, you might have a father, you might be in foster care. This is where these things happen all the time. If you have children that are born at a rate of 70% without a father in the home, then I don't know how much of that is foster children. I don't know how much of that is children with step parents. I don't know where the numbers break down and how much of that is. I just know that means there's a lot of opportunities for men like this to have full reign, right? And to justify it by saying, oh, well, she was just promiscuous. She was ready anyways, right?
This is why I have a problem with the predator label, because they were willing participants in the dynamic. I can tell you, I remember this one girl who answered my ad, and she was 15 years old. 15 years old. We were talking and stuff, and I knew I was never going to meet this chick. I was just talk to her, and she sent me dirty pictures. She was running 100 miles an hour in that direction, and I'm quite sure that she hooked up with some older man. You hear of girls who are 15, 16, 17 year old hooking up with 30, 40-year-old men. You know how common that is? Let me tell you something that happened. And it's...
I don't know how common that is, to be honest with you. I have no idea. Also, I don't know if the screen... sorry, whoever I missed Super Chat, I'm sorry. My apologies. It looks like it was... Thank you, Marina, for the $5 quid, I believe, Super Chat. Thank God for those Manosphere guys aren't very smart. I wish all of them cam up and confess their crimes. Yeah, right. One can only hope. 331 people watching. Make sure you like the video, ladies and gentlemen. I think somebody else just Super Chat. I can't see it right now. If you just Super Chat, then I appreciate you. Let me see if I have the ability to actually check that out. Hold on a second. All right. I don't have the ability to check that out right now. So if you send another Super Chat, my apologies. I appreciate it. Okay. So this was kind of, in my opinion, reminiscent of the sensual workers who were taken into the sex slave trade, right? Who are abducted and forced into prostitution and things of that nature. This is pretty much a situation where you'd have underage or minority girls doing that, and that'd be the reason why they're doing that, because essentially they either had to survive, they might be in a terrible situation, right? Listen, man, let me tell y'all something, man. A lot of y'all don't understand what kind of guys, man, are really roaming these hoods. Let me tell y'all something, man. I've met some straight up monsters. All right. I've met some straight up monsters, and I get that there are bad people in every race. I really do get that, but I need y'all to understand something. There are some very, very, very serious predators. There's some very bad people in a lot of these very downtrodden areas and communities where the police don't patrol, when there is no sense of community or village, and you have children that are growing up in these areas, right? You have kids that are growing up in these areas with nobody. Right, with nobody, and so I speak about this so passionately because I need you to understand what the Manosphere truly supports. I need y'all to understand that this is what Kevin Samuels truly supports. I need y'all to understand this is what Donovan Sharp, this is what Coach Greg Adams, this is what all of them, even the white Manosphere content creators, this is what they support. They do support the predation or the predatorial nature or promotion of predatorial conquest or crusade against girls. This is what they fully support. Okay? Thank you for the $5 Super Chat. We're going to continue with the video in 1 second. Thank you for the $5 Super Chat from NK215. She says the big question is, why hasn't he been arrested yet? It's a good question. It's a very, very, very good question. I don't know why he hasn't been arrested yet. Spooky. Somebody says spooky. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and play my music here. I got some spooky music. We'll play it really quietly in the background here. All right. Let's go back to this video.
Kind of out there. I was running my ads, and I had this woman who was a mother, and she was like, "Are you a black bull?" And I was just like, "Yes, I am." And she says,
all right, I don't know if I'm going to play the next part just because it's just kind of ridiculous, to be quite honest with you. So I might just go ahead and fast forward on this part right here. All right, let's go forward.
It's me. So once again, I don't believe R. Kelly's a predator. I think he has an appetite that got him in trouble because he could not control. Because here's the thing. And I forget the billionaire who was running the sexual trafficking. I forget his name. I could see him. He was a blonde, white guy. He had that same appetite. Now, that young girl, 17-year-old, the mom and her daughters, and that was, and there was a few more, but I did not look or hunt or subscribe to those young girls. My perfect age range was like 24 to about 34. That was where I operated quite a bit. But I'm here to tell you that, especially with the billionaire, these girls would go out and recruit girls, and they were adults. They were 100% aware of what they're doing. They were like, I am going.
All right. So we're just going to go ahead and stop it there. He's into some pretty serious stuff, and once again, if you're just now joining, that is Glendon Cameron. Glendon Cameron is a YouTuber who does some kind of. Oh, somebody said play it THD. Should I? All right. Well, I'll definitely get back to it and play it if y'all want me to play it. Popular YouTuber that affiliates himself with the Manosphere, right? Stuff that we already know. We know that the Manosphere are all pretty much, pedophiles for the most part. There's no way that you can convince me that it's okay to go after an 18-year-old girl because she's 18. And that's legal. There's no way that you can tell me that it's okay for an 18-year-old to be with a 42-year-old, even if she thinks or she says she wants to be with the 42-year-old. There's no way for you to convince me that that's not weird, because that's just weird. Everybody knows that's weird, right? But they're fighting very, 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 very strongly on their opportunity to flex their absolute. When I say absolute, I mean to the furthest extent of the law. They're flexing their legal rights and abilities, even as far as going down to 16 and 17 years old. Right. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us on The Honest Truth, the Life Truth Seekers podcast tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's a beautiful evening. And once again, I wasn't going to cover this, but I have to. I have to cover this. The next live stream will kind of be back to our usual live stream here. This is too big of a video to not talk about. And I have not seen that many manospheric content creators who believe essentially what this man believes in talk about this situation. I haven't seen it at all. Reading a couple of comments right now from y'all. 100,000 subscribers. Keep that in mind. That's how many subscribers that Glendon Cameron had on his channel. 100,000. Right? By no means a small YouTuber. One So True says, under 18, they can't consent. NK15 says, so Amazon should be removing his content. Learning IT says, can't y'all flag his channel? I think a lot of people flagged the video, and the video's gone now. So apparently YouTube took it down or something. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but it's gone as of now. I downloaded it the same day it actually left, so. Nuna Business says, I'm reporting him on Amazon and leaving a review in this filthy mess. Deanne says, lust is insatiable. Weak men can and will be turned into perverts and criminals by it. Keep supporting promiscuity in men, and this is the way it always goes. It's a very interesting comment. And you know what I think is interesting and why pedophilia is really starting to kind of get on the rise, or they're trying to normalize it in this case, is because men are so thirsty for women right now, right? And this is by no means an excuse to how this man is living. To how effed up he is, to how effed up he's going to be honest with you, when he ends up getting slammed in the slammer. Pause. So the problem with this, though, is that what's going on is, since they're not able to win in real life, they're lowering they're lowering any ounce of moral fiber or integrity that they have inside of them, because they're so desperate for just a drop, right? They're so desperate. Why do you think OnlyFans is popping right now, or OnlyFans, or all these other adult websites, whatever it might be, that are offering virtual companionship or virtual sensuality on a more one-to-one personal level? These guys are out here like doing really bad. Like it's dry for them. Like Sahara Desert, Mount Yosemite peak dry for men out here, and so they're trying to get it any type of way they can. And at this point, they don't care if she's 15. They don't care. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with y'all, man. These dudes wouldn't care if she was 13. I'm telling you the God honest truth. These guys don't care. Right? We know they don't care, because they don't have any type of morality in any other aspect of their life. They don't believe in adhering to the sense of traditionality, unless it's the woman's traditionality that she needs to abide and follow by, or submit to them under, right? They don't believe in anything else past that, though. I've heard them talk about the legal age limit. They've talked about it on my panel or on the channel, right? They've joked about it. Guys have come on, and during that 6.5 hour live stream, you'll hear it, right? Part 1, the pedophilic manosphere. Something is very wrong. Or the dark truth, whatever the name of it is. It was done in March on my channel. They literally came onto my channel and boasted and bragged about it being okay to be 17 years old in some states. They told me that themselves. All right. Once again, the reason that the manosphere exists to begin with is because men are doing terrible in life with women. Women have the option to date whoever they want. So what do they do now? What is the manosphere popularizing? Going overseas to find young girls. Going to South America to find young girls. Dating young girls. Dating 18 years old. Because she's not as argumentative, I think I've heard some of them say. She's easier to mold. Literally, easier to mold. Right? Like pimp talk almost, right? But this is what the manosphere preaches. Go get an 18-year-old girl, mold her into what you want her to be. Right? Organic Black, yes, that was the video that I got flagged down for. I appreciate you letting me know that. Yeah, so for those of you who are new to the channel, my channel went down for about 2 weeks because I was in a legal, I guess just a legal battle online, right? It ended up being a federal issue. So I uploaded a video or I uploaded a picture, and either the video or the picture had an issue. And so the person who was the copyright owner of the picture struck my channel or gave my channel a copyright strike. And when you get a copyright strike, you can't do live streams or anything for a couple weeks, right? And so out of all the videos I made, the one where I talked about the pedophilic men in the manosphere was the one that got my channel taken down for a while. So it's a great observation, right? They don't want you to talk about this. They absolutely don't want this to be the publicized mentioning or information that's seen online about them and their twisted, just ridiculous, subhuman methodology of thought. They don't want people to know this, but they say it proudly and boldly. They say it proudly and boldly all day. They joke about it all day and all night, like it's cool, right? We're talking about numbers of men, ladies and gentlemen, into the millions. The millions. Not 50,000, not 100,000. There's 1 million subscribers that are subscribed to Kevin Scamulles. There's 200,000 subscribers that are subscribed. There's 300,000 subscribers that are subscribed to The Better Bachelor. There's 120,000 that are with Donovan. There's 130,000 that are with O'Shea Duke Jackson, right? There's 400,000 with the Fresh and Fit podcast. We're talking about millions of people right now. An epidemic in the next 10 to 15, 20 years in the development of girls who are going to continue to grow in the severe lack of two-parent households in the black communities. There's going to be an epidemic. It's going to get worse. The over-sexualization of girls is going to get worse because inflation is going to rise the price of things in the future. It's already rising the price of things now. Minimum wage isn't going up. Things are getting more expensive. The pandemic, you've seen used car prices. You've seen new car prices. It's ridiculous. It's skyrocketed right now. When you start compounding all the different advancements in cost to maintain quality of life or cost to survive, it's gonna be very clear how it affects the growth of young ones, right? Less resources, then they're gonna have to do more for the resources to compete. This is the natural way about it, especially in capitalistic societies. If we were in communism, then it wouldn't matter as much because everybody's going to have the same amount of resources and competition is non-existent. This is why money is important. This is why money does have value. Trey Frey, 39 for the $25 super chat. I appreciate that, Trey. She says, love you, Truth. I love you as well, my dear. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and the donation. $25 super chat. I appreciate that. This is why money is important. Once again, Brendan Cameron has money. This dude has money. So it seems. It's important because he has money. He has the resources that some of these girls are attracted to. You see these guys, they think, oh man, these girls are really out here because they like an older, mature guy, whatever it might be. No, these girls get with guys because they're in such shitty living situations The younger men don't have access to money because they're the least educated as far as black males go. They have no choice but to go and settle for sleeping or selling or doing whatever she needs to do to earn money in this case. And listen, I'm not giving this as an excuse or giving women an excuse to be promiscuous, whatever it might be. Listen, I don't care what you think is right or wrong or anything like that. I'm not God. I don't judge anybody's lifestyles. However, I do know that that when something's right, something's right. And when something's wrong, something's very wrong. Okay. And there's something very wrong with this situation and the amount of growth that it's going to have in the future. Right. So, I can't really say that. Black Femicide US, a huge channel. Somebody was asking me the other day about the channel that I was mentioning, and this is it right here, Black Femicide US. Make sure you subscribe to Black Femicide US. They're doing a lot of research over there, and I would love to get in touch with you. She said for the $10 super chat, I need to get on your show and discuss the change in child protection laws. Pedophiles are hoping they pass. Wow. Absolutely. Give me an email. I'm putting my email in the live chat. TheHonestTruthYT@gmail.com. Send me an email if you'd like to collaborate for business, whatever it might be. And Black Femicide, let's talk. We'll get you up on here. And I appreciate that donation and that super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. We definitely need to talk about that. Gordon says we have to call it out, THT. We're supposed to be watchmen. Up at Unicorn says, never seen THT struggle so much to speak. Yeah, you know, this is one of those things where it's hard to talk about, you know, in certain manners or in certain ways because most people have children, right? And so I want to be very careful to not overburden this message. It's already enough burden in kind of the videos and the realization that there's just going to be times for a parent or in a parent's life where they just don't have control of their children. And so seeing these videos is a shock to a lot of people. It's a shock to a lot of the ladies and guys as well, right? Because sometimes we kind of live our life with the assumption that these things won't ever happen to us, with the assumption that these things don't happen in life. And when we see these things, it can jar us a bit. And so I'm careful to not jar too much on top of the jarring that some of the ladies might be kind of going through, you know. But yeah, this is a tough one here, though. You know, what you gonna do? It's good to see Black Femicide in the building. I mentioned it before. My cousin who lives in New York was, you know, hit on by grown men at age 13. She was curvaceous at 13. And so she had guys walk up to her all the time. They're like, hey, how old are you? She'd be like, I'm 13. And they'd be like, damn, that's what's up. That's what's up. Do you have a cell phone? Can I get your number? And they were grown men, right? I could tell you just about everything that I speak on this channel, I have like a personal instance or some sort of personal tie or connection to that situation. I've experienced most of the things that I talk about on here, as I know a lot of y'all have as well. You know, it's apparent my freaking light up bar at the bottom here still doesn't work, so I don't know how I get this thing to work. If anybody knows how to do stream elements, let me know, please. I'll probably end up paying you to help me. Caleb B says they happen to 60% of young black girls. And I've heard people talk about it. I've heard ladies talk about it on live panels, and I think it was between 60. It was either 60 or 80% of black women that have said that they've been touched or groped by either somebody they know most of the time, apparently, by somebody they know or somebody they don't know. And I see your comments. TAKA says happened to me very young. Most young girls. There's no protection. There's no protection. There's no protection, and and the Manosphere is trying to popularize the demonization of men who go to protect the stepfathers in that case, right? You can't win. Callie Red Glam says it happened to me at a very young age. Sis Soldier says, after watching the vid and his rebuttals, I think the man is recruiting. I hope the FBI is watching. Yeah, the FBI is definitely watching at this point. For sure. Butterfly Energy says, what's sad is these same men will dog us for having these traumas. But it makes sense now, because why would they be sympathetic? They perpetuate it. It's a good point. Country Boy says, truth. These times we living in, God said people will call evil good and good evil, right wrong and wrong right. Strong spirits of delusion out there. It's a good point. I appreciate that, Country Boy. Classic Ruby said, there's no consistency in the age of consent laws because they are arbitrary with no scientific or factual backing. Age of consent laws need to be adjusted and have multiple levels, in my honest opinion. I have to agree with you there. Some of you have said that you have predatory men in your family. Aquarius Spirit says, and this is why the recent convo about giving birth to black men is important. Yeah, that's a touchy one right there. Lordy, that's a touchy one. We might have to touch on that a little bit more on the next live stream, to be honest with you. It's a touchy one. Alluring, yeah. I do tonight, Alluring. I appreciate you. Sis Soldier says, I honestly don't know a female my age, 50, that hasn't or that wasn't at least touched as a child. Really? Not a single lady? That's crazy. Noonan Business says she's on the phone right now reporting him to Amazon to have his books removed. Kier said, are we talking tonight? Yeah, I'm going to open up the Zoom right now. Let me go ahead and try and open up Zoom. And we can try and do what we did last time. Fumble through it, essentially. All right. If you want to join the conversation, I want to open up Zoom. Give me a call. We can speak about this. I'd love to hear your point of view, your perspective, your experiences, if you feel bold enough to share your experiences. If you've had something happen to you in your own personal life, then I would appreciate you coming up, and I would thank you for your openness and for considering sharing your personal experiences with us. And I know we do have some ladies that have spoken and given some testimony in the past, and it's always wild, man. So let me post the link to this meeting. Give me 1 second, y'all. I want to thank the mods for always moderating and doing a great job. I want to thank all the channel OG members and all the new members for joining us tonight. It's always good to see a full house on a Saturday night. You could be anywhere, but you're joining us. You're joining me, and I appreciate you for joining me. At the moment, I cannot remember my my Zoom login. All right, here we go. We are into Zoom. Let me see if I can do this again. New meeting. All right. 1 second. 1 second, y'all. All right. I am here. Let me get this link for y'all, as well as the code. And then we'll be ready to go. Zoom is kind of odd. I know some of y'all don't like Zoom. I really don't like Zoom that much either. But it's what we got right now, so we'll make it work. All right, there's the link to join. Use this password. I assume the caps locks matter, so do that. There you go. If you want to join the conversation, there is the link. I'll go ahead and pin it. Oh, Deanne, I blocked you last time by accident. I'm so sorry, Deanne. I'll get you back up right now. So sorry, Deanne. Okay, I'm going to try and unblock you, Deanne. If you want to call once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're on Zoom. I'll try and unblock you, Deanne. I might not be able to do it, but I'm going to try my best, my dear. All right, let me see. Yeah, Deanne, you might have to just create another profile right now, because I'm not sure if I'll be able to find how to block or unblock right now. So Sorry, Deanne. All right. So while we wait, read a couple more of your comments. I blocked Gordon Desir also. Jeez. I'll unblock Deanne. I'm trying. I'm going to try, y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Looking at some of the comments in the chat. If you're listening on audio right now, I'm just reading the comments in the chat. I am whole says amen to the person reporting him to Amazon. Yeah, he's got some books on Amazon. I don't know where he found the inspiration to write books, but apparently he writes books on Amazon. So, Butterfly Energy says, in my family, it's generational. Me, my mom, my grandmother have all had traumas from men of our community. Jeez. No, Gordon, I didn't kick you on purpose, man. Sorry, bro. Crystal, I'm doing good tonight. I appreciate you, Crystal. All right, so we got some of y'all that are going to report him. Good deal, good deal. Yeah, definitely get him reported. Try and get him taken down if you can. I'll report right along with you. I don't know why I already haven't, to be completely honest with you. I'll report right along with y'all, though. I'll report right along with you. I don't know why I already haven't, to be completely honest. Oh, it looks like somebody's on Zoom. Let me see. 1 second, 1 second. All right. Hold on 1 second, Miss Rosa. I'll try and figure my life out right here. Okay. Oh, okay. I see. My apologies. Okay, so this is actually black femicide. Sorry, black femicide.
That's okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly. I'm going to try and go ahead and pull us up. Y'all forgive me. Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to make it look good right now. All right. That's probably about as good as we're going to get. Bam. Okay. All right. Go ahead, black femicide. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for giving me a chance to speak. When what I wanted to say right quick was about the changing laws as it relates to child protection laws. Anyone who knows me knows that I deal a lot with policy, legislation, politics. You know, that's the only way we're going to change anything within our communities. But let me go ahead right quick and talk about the child protection laws that are going to be changing. The American Law Institute, they're a private nonprofit organization, and they're composed of judges, attorneys, and law professors. And right now, they're trying to change laws as it relates to sex offenders and a lot of things that would protect our children. And what it is they use what's called the Model Penal Code, and that's a set of criminal law principles issued by the American Law Institute back in 1962. And what it did was help state legislatures standardize criminal statutes. And since it was issued, many states have enacted criminal laws that come directly from the Model Penal Code, and courts often use it to interpret criminal laws. But let me get into it right now about what they're trying to do. They're trying to, traffickers who advertise a child for sex, or those purchasing a child for sex, they will not have a trafficking crime if these laws pass. Offenders who abduct, entice, or traffic a child for sex, or share child sexual abuse material will not have to register as a sex offender. All public access to information about registered sex offenders will be eliminated. Sex offenders will no longer be required to provide key identifiers when they register, such as when they were born, fingerprints, and names they use online. And no registration requirements of if offenders are younger than 21, and sexual assault of a child older than 12, or if they sexually assault a child they are related to, unless the child is younger than 16. So what I want people to start doing is getting active in their local, with their local legislators, with their state and representatives, their Congress people, because your local elections matter. Start going out to community meetings. Ask them point blank, what are they doing for your community? We can no longer afford to continue to vote for people just because of party allegiance. We need to start aligning ourselves as independents. We need to start removing our votes from those who don't focus on our community and our needs, and we need to redirect our votes. Again, and for Black women, what I always say is, it was a big thing with the last election, with the ski-wee and, we're changing Georgia from red to blue. If we can do all of that for people who, once they get into their positions and they forget about us while they're passing legislation and anti-hate laws for other people, we need to remember this and stop giving these people our votes. But I do want to say thank you for letting me be on your show just briefly. And at a later date, we can talk about the homicides and stuff, what I really focus on.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I appreciate that, Black Femicide US. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Black Femicide US is a YouTube content creator as well. Is you have your channel linked by chance, Black Femicide US, or?
Yeah, I can put it in. I actually just started. I'm going to be doing something weekly.
Okay.
So I will put it in the chat.
Awesome. Sounds great. Well, I appreciate that. Let me know if you have a problem putting it in the chat, and I'll try and grab it for you. But
okay.
Absolutely. Great insight, and I really appreciate that. Some major things happening, and so the biggest and the best advice on your way out is to really start getting into politics and vote accordingly. Yes,
vote accordingly. We have to do it. The future generations are dependent on what we do now. Right. It's just so ironic that video of him being so open and emboldened to say that lets you know what type of atmosphere we're living in. Right. Because normally those kind of people, they would stay hidden. They would, do their stuff, in the dark. And for someone to feel that emboldened is very frightening. And it comes on the heels of these laws trying to be passed where people who normally would be identified as pedophiles and sex offenders, they're trying to change laws to protect them. Our children will no longer be safe. We will no longer be safe.
Haunting last words, Black Femicide. I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you on the next live stream, and hopefully in the future in a conversation or a separate video. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Talk soon. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was very interesting, and I appreciate Black Femicide for hopping on and sharing her knowledge of the situation. I think that's mind-numbing, and so I look forward to talking with her a little bit more. Kiera, I saw Kiera in the background. Kiera, if you wanted to hop back up, you're more than welcome to hop back up. So I tried to compartmentalize all of those laws really quickly, and I kind of forgotten them already. But it sounds like they're trying to make it easier for, child sex traffickers and pimps, and for people who are child predators to get off the hook. That's what it sounded like to me. They're trying to make it easier. It's crazy. That is crazy. But Unicorn says they are literally trying to legislate away the rights of a parent to protect the child. Yeah, that was crazy what Black Femicide said. I was like, am I interpreting what she's saying right? Are they trying to make it easier? It's crazy. But he also says, so many laws are made quietly, and we don't catch these kinds of things happening because what's loud is entertainment news. Yeah. I know there's been a lot of laws passed since the pandemic began. A lot of laws have passed. Slim Roller says, here, California, during the pandemic, Governor Newsom, or Newscum, he put in parentheses, let a bill pass by not acting on it that allows pedophiles not have to register on the sexual offender list. I knew Kelly was bad, but Lord have mercy, that's crazy. He let it pass by not doing anything. Wow. Some of y'all talking about the age gap. Yeah, I mean, age gap. Yeah, the age gap isn't. I understand age gaps. I get, hey, if 17 is with 19, if 16 is with 19, I get that, right? I get that. 16, 20, we're starting to push it now, right? We're pushing it now. Seriously pushing it. 21, that's out of the question, right? So, well, really 20 is out of the question, but I mean, 20 is definitely out of the question, I guess a 20 and 24 year age difference would be a lot more applicable in this case. So in the 4 years, I see how obviously 28 and 34, that's not bad at all. 16 and 20, that's that's obviously pretty bad. So forgive me. That's what I meant to say. I was like, oh boy, that can sound pretty bad there. 16, 20 is definitely bad. Make that clear, okay? Okay. I know we're gonna get absolutely destroyed for saying that. Let me make this very clear, okay? I know it's obviously illegal for a 16 and a 19-year-old, right, to be with each other, right? I completely get that, right? I definitely do. 16 and 19 is obviously still illegal for sure, and it's definitely pushing it. I mean, it's illegal. It is, right? Obviously, the point I'm trying to make here is that 20 and 23 is a lot more doable. So. I said it very, very, very wrongly. Horribly wrongly. Very wrongly. I'm going to get destroyed for saying this. I already know. What could you do? Classic Ruby says, I think for sure casual encounters are very damaging with too large an age gap. I'm not bothered as much by larger age gaps that are actually in committed, loving relationships. Yeah. .007 says 16 and 19 happens. Yeah, it happens a lot. Not a lot, but it does happen. It does happen. It's not your faith persuasion says, so what are you saying? Yeah, no, it happens. It definitely happens. It happens, The problem is it goes back to this argument, right? And the problem is it goes back to this, 16 is the age of consent or 17 is the age of consent. I don't know what this means exactly. I've always thought that 18 was the legal limit. But guys are saying, 16 is the age of consent, 17 is the age of consent. So I guess at 16 years old is the limit to give consent. Dinah Prince says, I know what you meant. Okay, thank you, Dinah. I appreciate it. Still sounds really bad, but. So I got to look that up. Age of consent. Shadow Empress says, if you don't teach your children discernment, you're screwed. The predators will take advantage and blame your child. Yeah, that's the tough part here. Sometimes, I mean, listen, kids are going to be kids, right? Especially teens are going to be teens. There's only so much that you can do to try and teach a child the best thing to do. There's only so much that you can say. I mean, as teenagers, we all did stupid stuff. We all did stupid things because we were teens. You can only do so much as a parent. Right. So I think it's a little difficult. That's why ideally you'd like for, your teen child to be with another teen, not with the grown man that's betting on her being 17 because the state is 17 or whatever it might be, Alex says, so before 16, kids can't consent even to each other, meaning two 13-year-olds can't even consent to each other. Let me look this up. I don't know, really. All right, what exactly does age of consent mean? All right. Okay, so Texas. The age of legal consent in Texas is 17. The definition of, and I'm going to show you all this. So let me click this entire thing. Oh, Kier, I see you in the back here. Give me 1 second. Okay. The definition of age of consent in Texas is when a person may legally consent and engage in sexual activity with another person. Texas Penal Code states that once a person becomes 17 years of age, they are capable to give consent for sexual activity with another person. It doesn't say how old that person is. Once a person is no longer 17, they are considered in Texas to be capable of giving consent for sexual activity. Okay, age of consent outside Texas. Not all states share the same age of consent. The age of consent can range from 14 to 18 years of age across the United States. Some states may have special rules if one person is over the legal age of consent but over 21. Okay, so if the age of consent is 16 in Arkansas, it says any person under the age of consent is deemed to be mentally incapable of consenting to sex. Thus, if an adult has sex with a minor below the age of consent, the adult may be charged. In Arkansas, a person must be at least 16 years old. So, okay. So, okay, so let me read this. Every state is different, apparently. Every state's different. This is crazy. Okay, Alabama says this. Age of consent is incredibly important in Alabama. An individual who is 19 years old or older has sexual contact with someone who is younger than 16 but older than 12 has committed sexual abuse. So you can be grown. And have intercourse with a 16-year-old. Am I reading this right? I don't know if I'm understanding this correctly, yo. Am I reading this right, yo? Nuna, for the $10 super chat, and Glendon Cameron has been reported to Amazon. I sent this video of his confessions. AMZ or Amazon agent confirmed receipt of the video, sent to investigative unit. Advised book may be removed by next month. Thank you so much for that, Nuna, for doubling down on that. And thank you for your donation, your contribution. Absolutely, run it up. He's got a book. I'll try and find the name of the book. I'm kind of tripping right now. Okay, Alex says we're misunderstanding. ZZZ says no, you cannot. Deanne says I'm reading it correctly. Up in the Unicorn says no, it says you cannot. Oh, it says no. Okay. Let me go back to it. Give me 1 second. Let me go back to it. All right, so we're back. An individual who is 19 years old or older. Okay, let's just go to Alaska. It is second degree in Alaska sexual abuse for someone aged 16 or older to engage in sexual activities with an individual who is... All right, that's way too complicated for me. Let's see. Okay, 16 Arkansas, we just read that one. Colorado, close in age. In Colorado, a person who is under 15 can legally consent to have sex with somebody who is no more than 4 years older. Additionally, a person under 17 can legally consent to sex with a person who is no more than 10 years older. Oh, okay. A person who is under 15 can legally consent to sex with somebody who is no more than 4 years older. So in Colorado, a 15-year-old and a 19-year-old can legally get together. Close in age. Colorado. Additionally, a person under 17 can legally consent to sex with a person who is no more than 10 years older. A person under 17 can legally consent to sex with a person who is no more than 10 years older. So 15 and 24 is okay because that's no more than 10 years older? I don't know. You know what? We're going to go ahead and give that a rest for now. Kier, go ahead, Kier. What did you think about everything going on right now?
Man, I'm going to need you to slow down on the articles and read them slowly. You missed all of that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Which article? The one I was just reading just now?
Both, all of them that you tried to read.
Okay. You want to reread them? Hold on, let me see. I'll try and reread them. Hey, Deanne, give me 1 second. Okay, age of consent meeting. So you're talking about the age of consent, right, Kier?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just pull it up and I'll read it.
All right, I'll reread it. Deanne, go ahead, Deanne. You can unmute yourself. What did you think about everything right now, or the articles that we're reading, or personal experience? Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Okay, there's a lot that I could say. Just know that I deal with young ladies from 25 all the way down to 10 who have been groomed. So this is a hard subject for me because I know the depth to which people are after these children. It is so upsetting. But let me just say this, to get back to the Manosphere very quickly. Thank you, Kier. I'm going to try to keep it short because I know you're right there. Let me get back to the Manosphere for just a second. Black men are delusional. If they think the white men who are trying to return to pre-1865 type, we have to understand the founding fathers could have sex with anyone, anywhere, at any time. They were modeling the Greco-Roman model of the Caesars and the Roman patricians who were all perverts. Go read the Suetonius, the 12 Caesars, and understand that when you see white men looking up to Greece and Rome, this is the lifestyle that they wanted. So the laws are slowly reverting so that men like Jeffrey Epstein and Robert Kraft can do this. But it is a delusion to the highest level that while private prisons exist, that black men in the Manosphere think that they're going to be able to do this in a white supremacist world. So basically, the Scamuel and company are basically setting these black men up to go where they belong, to all the private prisons that have been built. Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III, that man named 3 times down for Confederate losers, restored mandatory minimums that Joe Biden put in place. But oh yeah, Joe Biden's the president. So these men are coming out into the open, encouraging each other to keep going younger and younger and younger, like these laws are going to be applied fairly to them. Okay, you can believe that if you want to. In what point in American history have laws ever been applied fairly to black men? So black men who support this need to get a clue. You are not going to be allowed to indulge your perversion because some white men want to be superior to you even in that. You are not going to be allowed to do this. The only thing that black men who support this are going to allow themselves to do is to fill up the private prisons and make men like Jeff Sessions rich, Joe Biden rich, the private prison industrial system rich for another 20 years. We're going to lose another 20 years. But you know what the problem is this time is 20 years ago, black women fought for black men and tried to get laws changed and try to get drug laws changed. The problem now is that they've left us with the option that we cannot afford to do that. We're going to have to let them go ahead and put these folks in jail to save ourselves and the children that we care about. I have no children, but I have taught different variations of children since I was 16 years old. You think for a hot second that I'm going to go to bat for a community of men that wants to do this to these little girls? No, I will make sure that the lawyer gets paid to put you under the jail if I don't come get you myself.
Absolutely.
You have got these
Deanne, you're going off. It's
so white
fantastic.
Men don't laugh.
Good night,
they're gonna
Lolita.
continue to do whatever it is they're gonna do as long as we put our $1 trillion a year into their economy.
Right.
They're gonna continue to do this. Since black women are obviously going to take over the black economy, we need to sit all the politicians that support them down by withdrawing our money. And I'm not talking about 2 days of voting. I'm talking about you take your money, you find out who supports these laws, and you snatch your money from them. And if black men around you even sniff that they support this, you snatch your support from them. This is how we actually are going to have to stop this. One more thing and going, something practical that you can do today. There isn't an election for another couple of years. I know that most black women are not rich, but here's what black girls need to help escape. If a young black woman were to reach out to you talking about a situation that she's in, she's going to need some money. So we need to pool our resources to have something to decide for these young ladies to give them a way out of abusive situations that are escalating. Understand the laws in your state. If the child is Georgia, Georgia's law actually says the person who was raped, statutory rape, cannot be the only witness. So there has to be, it can't be unsubstantiated just by the quote unquote victim, meaning it's almost impossible in Georgia to even get a case of statutory rape proof. So what you're going to have to do, if you are a black woman who cares about this, Black Femicide USA is correct. Yes, we got to go deal with the laws, but on an everyday basis, you have to put money to the side so that we can rescue these young ladies if they come to us. Otherwise, this is not going to stop.
Whew, that's
we're going to have to, since Goldman Sachs is giving money to us right now, or at least on a loan, we're going to have to take our political power. We're going to have to take our financial power for the next decade, because if there are obviously men, the honest truth is one of them, who is speaking up against this. We're going to have to get together with the black men that actually have moral integrity and deal with this ourselves. Like I said, white men are returning to type in power. They want to have sexual access to everything that is not nailed down, just like they did during the European period or during the Renaissance, just as they did in the Catholic Church, just as they did back to the Greeks and the Romans. They're not going to change. Black men, some in the Manosphere, think they're going to make up maybe 6 figures a year and be able to be honorary white men. Well, they're going to get what's coming to them. In the meantime, we have to figure out how to keep ourselves safe. Yeah. And also rescue these young girls. That's the job. If you don't like what you're hearing, then get ready.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. Spot on message.
Sir, you're muted.
Oh.
You're muted. The honest truth.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I think actually they could still hear, but you probably wouldn't be able to hear me. Sorry. I'm still trying to figure out, obviously, this dang program here. But listen, Dan, you were spot on the money. I appreciate it, and I understand, and I completely support and back everything you said. So you're on the money. I'm going to go ahead and try and mute you, and we'll get back to a couple more of these comments here. But I appreciate you for joining again, Deanne. Thank you so much. All right. Let me see if I can figure out how to do this real quickly, y'all. 1 second. Let me make sure. Okay. Baron is still in the background. Okay. Hey, Baron.
Okay, there we go. Oh, okay. I mean, that's how my name is coming up as Baron?
Yeah, it is right now. So I got you now. Country Boy's here as well. Oh, okay, Baron. Okay. Well, I'm gonna put you on camera since you got your camera on. Well, Deanne had her camera on too. Jeez. Sorry, Dan. I didn't even know. Okay, here we go. So, Baron, man, is this your first time calling in? I think it is.
No, I actually called in before. I usually call it Kamisi Fox. I usually fix it. I see you switched over to Zoom.
Okay.
Last time I called in, you were using what you call it?
StreamYard.
StreamYard. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
So I haven't even adjusted my Zoom. That's why it's showing Baron.
Oh, okay.
And I'm actually, my YouTube handle is Kamisi Fox, and that's usually how I'm seen.
For sure.
I called in one other time before.
Oh, for sure, man, for sure. Well, give me your thoughts on the conversation tonight, man. What do you think about everything that you've seen, or what have you experienced?
I heard the first part. I heard your monologue. I saw the videos you were playing of the different guys talking, and I was gone for a little while for a second. I'm just now coming back. Okay. But I'll tell you this is the thing that I wanted to point out, that, hey, listen, it ain't just these guys that's supporting this stuff. I want to tell you, everybody's part on this. In fact, I think the conversation's a little late. Let me tell you what I mean. You remember? Let me just give an example. You remember the little girl there was some video. It was some graduation, and the little girl, they asked her. I think she was graduating from kindergarten or something other like that, right? And they said, "What do you want to be?" And she said, "I want to be a stripper." Whoa! Everybody thought that was so funny and so cute. You remember this? Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
I don't remember that video, but I can picture what you're saying now.
Knows what I'm talking. Somebody remembers that video. This stripper culture, we think it's cute, and also Cardi B, Doja Cat, Saweetie, all of them need to be canceled. They're promoting this to young girls. Women promote this. This is accepted. Come on now, don't let everybody don't play dumb. Women promote this stripper culture to young girls, and it's treated like it's all good and it's all funny.
So, but Baron, who made up the stripper culture though?
No, I'm not taking the blame off the men. I'm just saying that there's.
But women didn't make up the stripper culture, man. You know, women didn't make up the songs to talk about it.
I'm saying cancel Cardi B. I'm just calling out all the players.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to defend men. Believe me.
Yeah. Well, No, you're fine. I just want to make sure that we kind of make it, understandably clear that what the leaders of our past have said. What Malcolm X said is that a nation is only as strong as its women, right? And we're only as strong as our community. And so if we as people or as a people are weak, then it's going to be reflected in many different facets, women being a partial facet of that as well. Now, there are a lot of women who grow up in these areas and they decide that they're going to do better to never go back to them, right? Then there are some who obviously grow up in these areas and end up feeling the repercussions of growing up in this area, which is living an alternative lifestyle, quote unquote, which is maybe just participating or partaking in different lifestyle choices in life. But all of it still at the end of the day is from the environment. And so we got to be really careful when we place blame on those types of acts and things of that nature, because if we're not careful, then we'll start treating a person by what they do, or we'll react to a person based off of something they say, right? Or something that they do to you. So what I mean by that is this.
I think
if you're in your car, here's the thing, right? And so, and I'm glad you said that. So I'm just keeping you on for a second. If you're in your car and somebody cuts you off, right? You can get upset. It can lead to an altercation. It can lead to something, maybe even the worst possible outcome of that situation.
Talking about that, this is crazy.
Right. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Talking with my duns about that. Yeah. Some of my friends about that.
That's how you know confirmation. But listen, here's the thing, though. The thing is, whether or not, when the bullets start flying or when you start throwing fists, whether or not that person was right or wrong becomes irrelevant at that time. Now you're in a situation, right? So whether or not they were right or wrong is irrelevant. What needs to be focused on is how you responded, not reacted to the situation. So the bigger thing is this, and this is how I always look at all the discussions and everything I talk about in life. And this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you go. And we'll go on to Country Boy. When I see people, and when people do wrong to me, when people talk to me a certain way, when people, whatever it might be, I try not to internalize what they're doing as much as I internalize why they're doing what they're doing, right?
Okay.
So it's tough because on the outside you have to say, okay, black women, they're raising their kids wrong, and then they're obviously the kids are going to be screwed or effed up. Well, here's the thing. That's not what I'm saying. Well, no, I hear you, but this is the thing.
Saweetie, do y'all know what have you heard the lyrics of Saweetie?
Right.
I think you're taking everything I'm saying way out of context.
No, I haven't heard the lyrics.
Let me just. See, I got a video on my channel about that. I'm not even trying to promote my stuff.
Okay.
I broke down the lyrics of Saweetie. Me and my girls. Somebody knows what I'm talking about. Everybody. Does anybody listen to Saweetie on this state? Anybody? Oh my God! Y'all gonna try all this strip culture being pushed by Cardi B. What's her name? Nicki Minaj, Saweetie, all these Doja Cat.
So do you think the stripper culture is contributing to what this man was talking about in the video today?
I'm not even talking about stripper. So let me just leave you with this. It would be hypocritical of us for have shows like this, talk about this, and allow that to go on at the same time. It's a contradiction, and for us to be really serious, we have to address. We have to, if we seriously want to save the kids, that's what we have to do. Otherwise, this will just be like entertainment. You know what I mean?
All right. Sure. So we got a couple questions for you. Deanne has a couple of questions. Deanne wanted to ask you something. I'm going to put you on mute 1 second. Deanne, I'll let you ask a question. Then Country Boy, I want to let you chime in. After Country Boy, we'll let Classic Ruby go. Deanne, go ahead and ask your question to Mr. Barron here.
Mr. Foxworth, good evening. I just have a question for you. You asked a question about, doesn't anybody know these songs? Well, I have two questions, two sides of the same coin. Who listens to stripper culture the most, and who follows strippers the most?
Oh, let me try. I might have to unmute you, Barron. Hold on a second. Okay. Barron, unmute yourself really quickly. There you go. I want to ask to unmute you again. Let's see. I think Barron's talking to himself right now. He might not be able to hear me. Barron, you have to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Oh, my bad. Oh, okay. I had to do. Okay, my bad.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What did you ask? She asked me. Oh my God.
I'll ask again.
This stuff y'all not aware. Okay.
You made a statement. You've asked a couple of times. You made a statement to start with saying, we're all a part of this. And then you asked, how many of you know about Saweetie? Okay.
All a part of this. Obviously I'm talking about something y'all don't know about. Y'all are not familiar with what I'm talking about.
Which goes to my two questions, sir.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember that video?
Who follows stripper cultures and strippers the most? Black men or black women?
God, I'm not here to play blame on black men or black women.
Okay.
I don't know, man. That's not my point. I'm talking about there are women. There's a lot of women who think it's cute that are helping, that are saying, "Oh, she wants to be a stripper." Do y'all acting like y'all don't know what I'm talking about?
And I'm asking a very simple question. Okay. Who feeds stripper culture? You're dancing around it.
Ma'am, I'm not here. You're trying to pin me on something. I don't know. And I don't. Get to your point, ma'am. It's okay. So you're going to try to dismiss what I'm saying.
Really quickly.
I got to go. Yeah. Because this is my contribution to the show. If y'all don't know what I'm talking about, whoa, my bad. Whoa, my bad. You know what I'm going to do?
It's not that we don't know.
I'm going to step off.
And the men take accountability for 2 minutes before trying to throw it back on the women.
No, I'm not trying to throw it back on the women. This is not placing blame. No, I'm trying to get you to look at something. And if you don't want to see it, I can't make you see it. I can't make you see it sitting right here. And I'm not gonna try. I tried to help. This is my contribution. I'm out. I'm out.
All right, Barron.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Am I going? I'm trying to release myself.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay.
You got it?
Yeah.
I'll take you down. Hold on. I'll take you down. Remove. Okay. Remove.
Yeah,
let me not report you. There we go. Okay, Barron. All right. So I don't know where we're going, but we ended up somewhere, Deanne. Give me 1 second. We're gonna go to Country Boy. After Country Boy, we'll go to Ruby Red. So Deanne, My bad, Deanna. Sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Okay, Country Boy. Good to see you, Country Boy. What are your thoughts tonight, if any?
Good evening, Truth. How you doing this evening?
I'm very good. I'm very good, sir. How's your evening going, man?
It's going real well out here for me. But real talk, Truth. I really want to get into the bottom of this issue because this is a touching topic and it's a serious topic and we need to take it. We don't need to take this lightly because something needs to happen with all this trafficking and this messing with these underage kids. I just put it like that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, listen, I appreciate you calling in, man. I think you're great. You're on point, man. And that's what we got to do, Country Boy. I appreciate your support, brother. All right. All right.
No problem.
All right. That was Country Boy. We'll go ahead and put Country Boy on mute. We'll go to Ruby Red. Ladies and gentlemen, that was a very important call, and here's why, right? So the gentleman that just left got upset, right? He's upset because he wanted to bring out, what the women are doing to support this. And this is the big problem I have with the Manosphere, right? Somehow it always goes back to the women. Truth, I hear what you're saying, and right, it's very clever how he started off by saying, man, I support your message, I support your channel, I do, all right? But let's also talk about the women, right? It's not. This is the very big problem that we have with a lot of our guys, even the ones that do support what I say and what I stand for, right? Is that somehow we need to include and hold women accountable as well, right? We're not talking about the women right now. We're talking about the men, right? I talk about the men, right? The men that are in the community. So it's very tough to have true allies in this type of battle because a lot of guys, they'll say, yeah, man, you know what? I understand 1000%. I get it, whatever it might be. But because they're black men, it's very difficult for them to kind of make the disruption and connection between their personal identity and how I speak about what their personal identity is, right? I don't have a problem with separating myself from my image or from my, prototypical or stereotypical thought or somebody else's stereotypical thought about how I am as a black person, right? I don't tie my identity to being, and this is going to sound ridiculous, obviously, but to being a stereotypical black man, right? I'm able to hear objectively, and listen to critique and take critique in if it's good wisdom, if it's good knowledge. I'm able to listen and to process that and to take myself out of the situation. I'm not too cocky or arrogant to listen to advice, right? But it's very interesting when even the guys who say, hey, man, you know what? I support you. I get it. I listen. I love it. I love everything you say. 1000%. My only thing is, right, it's like, well, you're missing a very large portion of what I talk about. A very large portion, which is accountability, right? And I will move on to my next Zoom caller. I forgot I have Zoom callers, so give me 1 second. Country Boy, I see you still here, so give me 1 second. We have to go to our next person. We'll come back to you in a little bit. Kyunu, I'll get you up in 1 second. Ruby Red, you're coming up right now. So even when a guy says, man, I appreciate everything, why don't you talk about this more, though? It's like, you're still not quite understanding where I'm at, man. I don't talk about that right now because that's not what accountability for men means, right? So if you agree, then agree. Ruby Red, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, Ruby Red, I hear you perfectly. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm actually classic Ruby. I have no idea how to change my settings on Zoom. So it is what it is. But I spoke to you a long time ago. I don't know if you remember, on a panel once. And I was really excited to see that your channel's up and doing well and whatever, because even back then, I remember thinking, oh, this guy is actually balanced. He actually thinks. He's asking really good questions and listening to the answers. And so I don't know if that was during your actual time in the Manosphere or not, but I always knew you were going to do something good. So I just wanted to say that first.
I appreciate that. Thank you. And so did you have any personal experiences or stories as far as, you know, any wrongdoings? And obviously it's really personal, you don't have to answer. Or what are your thoughts on the conversation as far as the pedophilia, maybe in the black community? Or have you seen the video that we showed earlier, the Glendon Cameron video of him admitting? What are your thoughts on that as far as?
Well, see, and I have a slightly different perspective, I think, than a lot of people, because from a very young age, I dated older guys. I also sought out older friends, though I was like kind of, I guess we could say, wise and mature far beyond my years, and I didn't relate well to people my age. So with that being said, I mean, I was out there, like, when I say lying, and I was great at it, and like I wasn't getting carded at the liquor store, or to buy cigarettes or to get into clubs at, 14, 15, 16. So, meeting older guys and me saying I'm 19, they had no reason really to doubt me. I had a job, you know what I mean? I was in all the right places. I had all the right friends. They didn't really have a reason to doubt me. And so, normally they would find out I was lying, because if we were going to get to some serious level, right before something serious happened, I'd be like, oh, by the way, I'm 16, and it was kind of a freak out moment for them normally at that point. So with that being said, because I dated a lot of older guys, and because I was so different from my peer group, I can say number one is that yes, the average 15, 16, 17-year-old is not prepared in any way, shape, or form for adult relationships. And, they're not thinking at this higher level, and all the manipulations and, predators coming for them. They're just not ready for that. So, and then, it might seem crazy because I'm like, well, I dated much older, but I was very different than my peer group. So that's number one. But number two, when that guy started telling his story at the beginning, I was like, okay, he equated himself to R. Kelly, but I was listening to some of the details of his story, and it sounded somewhat similar to what happened with me and my ex-boyfriend. We were together for 5 years.
So let me,
I was 16,
I want to ask you.
21.
I want to ask you. Yeah, I want to ask you. So you said you dated much older guys. What was the, I guess, largest disparity in age between you and a significant other?
Okay, well, the boyfriend that I was just referencing, that was 7.5 years. So I was 16, he was 23.
He was 23. Okay.
Yeah.
How did y'all meet?
Actually, the first time I met him was about 6 months before we started dating. He came into my workplace. I was working at Champ Sports, like a sports store,
a shoe store. Yeah.
Yeah. And we were talking for a little bit. This is back in the days of people had pagers, not cell phones.
Uh-huh.
And so he paged me, I call him back, and then I kind of caught that he had a girlfriend, so let it slide. And we bumped into each other about 6 months later, and I said, it's my birthday. And he goes, oh, so you're 20 now? And I went, oh shit, yeah, that's right. I said I was 19. Yeah, I'm 20. And we just bumped into each other at the mall. He's like, I'm going over to so-and-so place. You want to come? And yeah, we just started hanging out. So he didn't know that I was 16 for a couple months. And I told him about 2 seconds. Yeah, for a couple months. I told him 2 seconds before sex, like literally as he was about to enter me. I'm like, wait, I'm 16. And he didn't really process it until afterwards. And so at that point, then he's like, oh my God, I'm going to jail.
So he went ahead with it, obviously, right?
Well, yeah, because he didn't really process it. Like the time that I told him, his brain wasn't on. It was afterwards. And so at that point, he's like, I'm going to jail. And he was freaking out. I'm like, oh, don't worry. The age of consent here is 15, which it was. At the time in Canada, the age of consent was 15. So as long as you were 15 and older, you could have sex with whoever you wanted. You're not going to prison.
Really?
Yeah. And so we broke up initially for a few weeks, came back together and kind of talked about it. He's like, well, I kind of fell in love with you. He met my parents and we stayed together for 5 years.
Really?
Yeah, we did.
Your parents were okay with it?
Well, my parents didn't know he was quite as old as he was. They thought he was only 20, turning 21, which they still weren't happy about. But it was like, he was a good guy, and he seemed to really love me and care about me and blah, blah, blah. So, my parents were also in a really strange place in their life, which is why I was able to kind of engage in this to begin with. Right. I was raised, like I had really great parents. And then when I turned like 15, I suddenly had no parents. I was homeless for a while. They were each going through their own separate things. And so I was kind of alone suddenly. Right. So someone was there to take care of me. And I think they were relieved. But with that being said, the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because of that experience, I can listen to that guy's story, which is similar. He said she lied, blah, 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 all of that. I can listen to his story and say, no, but he's a predator, because the mentality is entirely different, right? He was like, oh, yay, I scored. She's young.
So
and, I'm going to get away with this.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think that your boyfriend is a predator?
No.
Or did you
don't
think he was? No.
Because he like I said,
he thought you were 20 at first. So technically
he thought I was 24 months until he fell in love with me. And even after that, like, he insisted on meeting my parents. And yes, I did lie to my parents about his age initially as well. But he insisted on meeting them and like presenting himself. And thereafter, after he broke up with me, he started requiring photo ID and actual proof that, you are who you say you are and you are the right age, because he's not into kids. Like, it really did bother him. Like, it would haunt him, but he was in love with me. And that's ultimately kind of what broke us up too, because he was really uncomfortable with the idea of it. No one guessed I was younger. None of his friends or his family. Like,
how long did you date?
5 years. 5 years.
Well, what do you mean he broke it off with you? Because I mean, by that time, at 5 years, you would be 21, right? So I mean, it wouldn't be, the age gap wouldn't matter as much at that point.
It wasn't the age gap. It was like I tricked him into doing something against his moral code.
So 5 years, he started feeling pretty bad, and he was like, you know what? Let's just go ahead and end this.
No, the whole 5 years, this was a recurrent thing. Like,
oh, okay.
It was, like it was a recurrent thing. It would keep him up at night. He was like, like, he felt creeped out, even though it's legal, morally, right? He's like, I have a kid sister who's your age, and I see her as a kid. So yeah, you're mature and you don't look that young and blah, 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 but I know your age. And so it was haunting to him. He wasn't like, yes, score, I got some young, hot, hey, like, like the way that the guy in the video is going on, right? And then he's like, yes, I got away with it. That's how I get away with this, right? I have these appetites. Whereas in the guy, my ex-boyfriend, did not have appetites for young, multiple, impressionable girls that he can use and abuse and throw away.
Ruby,
you know what I mean? Like,
Ruby, my dear, I'm going to be completely honest with you, okay? I think he very well could have been a good person, right? I think he could have had a good heart, and he could have treated you great and this and that, right? I want to be very careful here, because 23 and 16 is a pretty serious age difference.
Huge, yeah.
And I'm not saying that he's not a good person, meaning he wouldn't hurt anybody or physically, try and rob somebody or something like that. But we have to be really careful, when we start to normalize, predatory or interpret the word predatory. And here's why I say this, okay? Most of us who have 16-year-olds or 15-year-olds wouldn't want to see a 15-year-old with a 22-year-old or a 16-year-old with a 23-year-old. And most likely you wouldn't either, in most cases, right? So I'm glad that nothing happened to you. I'm glad that it was a great relationship, and that you haven't carried any lasting burdens or scars from dealing with an older guy at the time. I think that's good, right? But there's a lot of things that can happen when you're talking about 16, 23-year-old, and so we have to be very cognizant and careful of appropriating that type of relationship, because ultimately, I mean, maybe it's not illegal. I don't know. I just don't know anymore at this point. It sounds like it wasn't.
It's not illegal, but that's why I'm trying to clarify. Like, I'm literally, the reason why I told my story is because I'm saying I am the one in a million that is 16 and thinks that differently. That, my average friend age was about his age, which is why it was like, oh no, she doesn't stick out at all. She's not, you know what I mean? And the reason why I'm saying that is because even though it's not illegal, because it's not, in a lot of states you got 16 or 17. Like I said, in Canada until maybe 5 years ago it was 15. Some states, I remember when I was a teenager, there were states that the age of consent was 14 and 12. So with that being said, it doesn't matter if the age of consent says you won't go to prison, right? Because we have to look at the mentality of the child, right? Or the young adult as they're coming up, and say, well, can the average, even though it's legal, what is that man looking for? Is he looking for 16 and 17-year-olds? And why is he looking for that? Is he looking for that because he wants to control them? Because he wants to mold them into a particular image? Because he knows that, you know, he doesn't have to behave a certain way with these young girls because they're so easy to confuse and to manipulate and to gaslight? Right? So like if he had been looking, trolling the high schools, looking for someone younger online, we didn't have online dating back then, it would be one thing, right? And then I would 100% agree with you. If the relationship didn't go badly, no, that's predatory behavior, right? And I think we have to clarify that even though it's legal, it doesn't change the morality of it, and it doesn't make it okay or better for a grown man, a 29-year-old, a 39-year-old, to be looking for a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old. Like, what could they possibly be looking for? Sure, sex, but you can have sex from anybody. So what are you really looking for? You're looking for manipulation and control.
So what age then? And so let me just ask you this. I'm going to move on to the next caller in a couple of seconds. What age is the max age for you as a 16-year-old to be dating romantically?
I think there should be a maximum 4-year age gap until you're 18.
Okay.
Maximum 4-year. I think at 18, we could probably do a 10-year age gap until the age of 25. Because 25 is when your brain is fully formed.
Okay.
That's when you are now actually scientifically an adult. So that's when you should have free reign.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Ruby Red, for your stories and for your personal experiences. I appreciate you calling in. We're going to move on. But thank you so much, okay, Ruby?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I appreciate Ruby Red calling in. We're going to go ahead and go on to Not Your Business. Not Your Business. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
What's going on?
Not much. Not your business. Is this D?
Hello?
Yeah. Is this D? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
So, I mean, I just caught a little bit of the show.
Uh-huh.
And I saw somebody talking about, Cardi B and all these women doing stripping music, and you sort of like got upset. What's wrong with that? He was making a good point.
Uh-huh.
So why were you trying to run him off when he was making a good point?
No, I wasn't trying to run him off at all. He left on his own fruition, but he got to say what he wanted to say. I wasn't upset at all either. You'll understand. You'll see when I'm upset. But I just wanted to let him know how I interpreted the situation, man. I don't see it, and I understand what he was saying, but on my channel, I don't just go hard on women, because they have enough of the men trying to destroy them online. Also, when I do decide to point out what might be happening or that particular situation, talking about the women being proud of teaching their daughters to be strippers or whatever it might be, I don't approach it from an anger perspective, because being angry at them is not going to do anything or change anything. So I'm very careful when I let guys tell stories like that, because what happens is we'll end up talking from a manospheric or a manosphere type of perspective or narrative, and I don't like to do that because I already hear a lot of the manosphere, right? So I give my version or my interpretation of how I see the situation.
I see what you're doing. Also, the lady that was talking, she talked about being in a legal relationship, and you somehow had a problem with it. If it's legal, what's the problem?
Are you speaking about the girl that was 16 with the 25 or 23-year-old? The girl that just talked?
If it's legal, what's the problem?
Well, I guess that depends, on whether or not you choose to peg legality as being the ultimate moral compass or not. If you're going to stand on the argument that if it's legal, what's the problem, then you better be sure that every single legal law that's in the United States that's placed into effect coincides with your own personal lives and decisions. So what state do you live in, might I ask?
I mean, I'm in North Carolina.
You're in North Carolina? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you is it legalized or recreationalized out in North Carolina?
like I said, I mean, I don't. As long as it's legal, what exactly is the problem here? You seem to have a problem with a girl
Well,
who is in a
I'm asking you.
legal relationship.
I'm asking you a question to try and prove your
You
point.
somehow try to cast the blame on a guy who was having a legal relationship.
Right. So let me ask you this.
Woman have any responsibility for being in that relationship, or everything is because I just skimmed through your channel and it's like all blame men. It's like, come on, dude.
Right.
Is that what you do around here?
I guess if that's the way you interpret it, then possibly that's what we do around here.
Because all you do is just blame the men. I mean, do women have any accountability in life where everything is the man's fault?
Well, I think the bigger question is this. Who blames more accountability, the man or the woman? What do you think?
I think it's equally shared.
You think it's equally shared?
Exactly.
Yeah? You think that the accountability of man and woman is equal?
Of course. I mean, the law holds everybody over the age of 18 responsible. So what's wrong with a woman having the same level of accountability as a man?
Well, I guess that would depend. So let's go ahead and use your logic and your reasoning. 50-50 right down the middle, correct?
50-50 right down the middle.
Right.
Everything. 50-50.
50-50 everything. So are you going to do 50-50 of the cooking as well?
I mean, that's a woman's responsibility. I mean, what are you talking about?
Well,
I don't cook.
but you share the responsibilities. It's a 50-50, right?
I mean, I can cook, but I mean, I don't think she would want to eat it when I cook it. You know what I mean?
Well, that's
probably in her best interest to be cooking.
That's irrelevant to the question at hand. The question is whether or not you would do 50% of the cooking as well as 50% of the laundry.
I don't mind doing it.
Okay. So you have no problem doing 50% of the laundry. You have no problem cleaning the house 50% of the time. You have no problem raising or being with the kids 50% of the days out of the year, staying home while she's at work.
Nobody takes the kids.
You have no problem going full 50-50. I want you to understand what 50-50, what you're interpreting it to be. I'm going to use your logic to try and possibly enlighten you, if you will, right? Okay. So 50-50 all the way through, right? Uh-huh. Down to the bills and the payments, right?
Of course. I mean, I tell you this. Mm-hmm. I pay all the mortgage on my house. Uh-huh. I don't have, I'm not married, so my girlfriend doesn't pay anything. But I pay all the mortgage on my house. I don't split the bills down the middle, but I have no problem with splitting the bills 50-50 if I have to. If I was in a marriage and she was making the same amount of money as I was making, only reason why I don't split the bills with my girlfriend is because I make more than her. But if she was making the same amount of money as I'm making, we'll split the bill. I don't see the problem there.
So you don't believe in 50-50 all the way then?
In some instances, I do believe in it. If you make 100,000 and your girlfriend makes 100,000, you got to split right down the middle.
So I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said in some instances, because this is the problem with a lot of you guys, right? The situational nuance we talk about. In some instances, things are different. And that's the reality of life. Very rarely is every situation the exact same, right? And so a lot of the time when you say something like, don't women deserve any of the accountability? Well, I think to a certain extent, and in some cases, yes, they do. I by no means have ever said that all women are perfect, right? I know that all women are not perfect. I know that there are bad people of every race and gender. I completely get that. I understand. However, what my mission to do here is address the root cause of the issue or the problem. So, for instance, in the friend that you're mentioning about the stripper celebration and things of that nature, it wasn't women who made up stripper culture or rap culture. That was started by black men. So, once again, it's irrelevant whether or not... Hold on. I'm answering your question here. I'm going to use your logic that you're accustomed to, which is in relevance to the question at hand, or in regards to the question at hand of whether or not women bear accountability. And I'm explaining to you why I'm getting ready to answer the way that I am. So, all right. I personally decide to go after the root of the problem. The root of the problem is culture that men started, that black men started, because black women didn't start rap. So that's why I address the roots before I address the problem itself. And I liken the comparison to this. Once again, if you're on the highway, you're going 100 miles an hour, and somebody cut you off because they thought you were going too slow, you can either choose to partake in the unsafe driving conditions and potentially wreck your car, or you just could, accept the fact that, hey, you know what? It kind of sucks that they're driving erratic, whatever it might be. I'm just going to keep the faith and keep the course because that's what's going to take care of me. And so my thing is this, and I'll let you go in 1 second. Me going tit for tat or trying to, essentially be a channel that y'all would want me to be, which is a channel that, antagonizes women. A lot of the times you guys claim accountability. Oh, you got to hold women accountable. You're not holding women accountable. You're not doing this. You're not doing that. You really don't want women to be held accountable. You want women to be tortured and vilified. I'm just not going to do that online, right?
I just, like I said,
I'm not gonna sit on a channel when there are already hundreds of channels that do this. Like, there's no shortage of channels from you hearing black men who are elder levels at this point in their lives give blanket sheet information and advice to women on how they live their life. There's no shortage of that, right? There's no shortage of that. Not to mention, accountability is something that typically works out naturally in life, bro. You know, if you make bad grades, it's going to be harder for you to get into a good college. Like, there's not people that are just going to need to hold you accountable all the time. It just doesn't happen. Life's going to hold you accountable naturally. It's going to.
So are you trying to say that women have no responsibility for the fact that Cardi B's out here, you know, half naked all the time, singing stripper music?
So are women?
So are you saying that black men are responsible for the fact that all these? I mean, when I hear about black music that are being done by women, it's like all stripper music. I mean, it's like black men don't listen to black men in this country, and you know that.
You said black men don't listen to black men in this country?
Black women don't listen to black men in this country, and you know that, right?
Black women don't listen to black men. Thank you, Stuff Love Heals, for being a member for 8 months. She says this show is so necessary. Happy to see black femicide as well. Yeah, definitely keep the momentum going. Thank you so much, Self Love Heals, and thank you for that $20 super chat. Self Love Heals, one of the top members contributing to the channel, always coming through. I appreciate that, Self Love Heals, not just to this channel, but to like all the channels in our space. Okay, so not your business. It's because of
like I said, I don't have a problem with your message, though. You just got to make sure that you keep it on both sides, right? You just got to keep it 50-50, like I said.
But here's my thing. Okay, let's say you got to keep it both sides. Here's this. What if black stripper culture was never made up? What if black rap degenerate culture was never made up, right? Then you wouldn't have to even worry about holding the women accountable in this case. Do you kind of see what I'm talking about here?
So
you're trying to
men are responsible for that?
Yes, of course, because black men made a rap. Here's what I'm saying. You're trying to address the issue versus addressing the root of the issue. You're going through and cutting all the dandelions out and just trimming the top, but the root's still intact underground. You haven't addressed the actual root itself. You have to dig and pull the root out. There's two parts to this problem. You're talking about one part, but you're not talking about the more important part. Or that iceberg comparison, you see the tip of an iceberg, but underneath is where most of its base is at, right? This is what a lot of you guys get caught up in doing, which is, we gotta let the women know because the women are the ones that are raising the child and this and that. Yeah, to some extent, but the bigger issue is the man who can spread more child and spread more seed than one woman can. One man could have 1,000 children, right? One man could have 10,000 children. 1,000 women cannot have 10,000 children in 1 year, right? So listen. This is
have any responsibility whatsoever.
This is the last thing I'm gonna say. All your questions will come down to the same thing, which is does any person have responsibility or the other? Absolutely, both sides have responsibility and accountability. Okay, but what I'm saying is this though, in most of the issues that you face with black women, the issue can be traced back to black men. When I say most, I mean the overwhelming majority. Name another issue that you have with black women. Name it right now.
I mean, if a woman chooses the right kind of man to procreate with, she's not gonna, be a single mother.
Okay, so is that your issue? The right man to procreate with?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Let's just say this. Okay, let's just say this. How old are you?
I'm 35.
You're 35. And you have no children, I assume?
Nope.
You never been... Whatever you're typing on is really loud, so just hold on a second.
I'm not typing. I'm not the one typing.
Oh, it's DQ.
I apologize.
I'm sorry, DQ. Yeah. Oh, man. I didn't know that there were so many more of y'all back here. Yo, I'm trash. Give me 1 second, y'all. My bad, DQ. Go 10, I'm muting you as well. The audio's going to be trash on this one. Okay, so you're 35, no kids. Are you in a relationship right now?
Yeah. It's like 2-month relationship.
2-month relationship. All right, so it's going good. And y'all moved in already, huh? So you're moving fast.
Nah, she doesn't live with me.
She doesn't live with you. Okay, good.
We're not gonna. I mean, because the past relationship told me not to do that again. I don't think I'll be doing that anytime soon.
All right, good deal. So so the problem is that the women are choosing all bad guys, right? But you're a good guy, you'd say, right?
I mean, I wouldn't consider. I mean, I'm a decent guy. I don't good, bad. What does that mean? I mean, I'm just normal.
Okay. Are you a good person? I mean, what makes a good guy? Are you a good guy that the women need to choose? I'm just trying to figure out where you see yourself on the spectrum.
I mean, good is relative, right? I'm a good person, a decent person, I would say. You know.
Okay. So if a woman chooses you, is she making herself a part of the problem here? I'm not sure where you are, but are you a good guy or a bad boy? Which one is it?
I wouldn't consider myself a bad boy. I mean, I barely drink. I barely smoke. You know, I have a decent job.
All right.
You know, normal guy.
So women need to choose better guys. Do they need to be choosing you or not?
I would say, you know, if they're looking for kids, they probably shouldn't be choosing me because I don't think I'll be having any.
So how are you telling women to choose better guys when you're not a fucking better guy, bro?
What do you mean I'm not a fucking better guy?
I mean, I'm being serious. Do you understand? Do you understand how But do you understand what I'm saying, though, bro? Like, come on.
Define what you mean by a better guy.
No. Listen to me, bro.
Definition problem.
Listen to me, bro. I'm asking if you think you're a better guy. I listen. Whatever better is in your mind, do you think that you're better? And you're not even giving me a straight yes. But then you're telling.
I would say yes. You know,
but you didn't. But you didn't say yes.
You know, I don't like putting these labels.
You didn't say yes. You said I'm okay. I wouldn't tell a woman to get with me or have kids with me.
I'm average. You know. I'm an average person.
Bro,
most people like
not your
average.
business. Not your business. You literally just said you wouldn't recommend a woman to get with you to have a child, bro. You literally just said that.
Yeah, if she don't have kids, you know, we can hang out. But if she's planning on having kids, nah.
So she needs to find a guy that's not you, essentially, right?
I mean, I don't feel like having kids, so I don't see how that's you know, there's a lot of women out here who don't want to have kids. I don't see what the problem is. I don't see how that's even a determination of how if a guy's a good guy or a bad guy. I don't know where you're going with this question.
That you could do.
You there?
You want.
Yeah, I'm here.
You could do.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand how that's any relative. If someone is average and he doesn't want to have kids, how is that a determination of whether he's a good guy or a bad guy? I'm trying to figure out how you're trying to put that together.
Okay, well, I tell you what, we'll think on it. You stay there for a second. Let's read some comments because I'm sure we have a couple of questions.
If you want to hang out, we can hang out, man. But we're not doing the baby thing. No.
Right. All right, good deal. All right, not your business there. Let's go ahead and move on. We have some people on the panel that haven't spoken yet. We're gonna go with DQ. DQ, the floor is yours. DQ. After DQ, we're going with Talon. I'm sorry. After DQ, we're going with KP, then Talon. DQ, unmute yourself and go ahead. Lord have mercy. Coming out tonight.
Hey brother, how you doing?
I'm good, DQ. How you doing tonight?
I'm fine. So I'm not gonna come at this from a blame point of view. Mm-hmm. I think that pedophilic behavior in a society is something that society has to deal with. Ultimately, I think that it's the responsibility of men to deal with these types of issues in our community. However, when trying to deal with these things, you have a class of people that don't want to be told anything about their children or about their lifestyle. I had a niece that got married, and she wanted me to give her away. And me coming from a traditional background and understanding the protocol of a man, I had explained to her that I couldn't give her away. I'll attend the wedding, but I couldn't give her away because I have not properly vetted the person that she's with.
Okay.
So if something goes awry and I haven't vetted the person that you're with, then I'm ultimately responsible for anything that happens to you as a result of this man.
Right.
So, you know, these types of things, I think that, you know, we have a responsibility as men to put these things into check. The R. Kellys, the Bill Cosbys, the whomever. We have a responsibility. However, the question is, are women yielding us that opportunity to deal with these types of things, or to find our place to deal with these types of things?
All right. So are women yielding us the opportunity? Here we go. Trey Frey 39 for the $10 super chat says he should have cut you off when you told him You were 16, yet he went ahead. He is a predator. Sorry. Yeah. If Jesus, first of all, I would never be in bed with a 16-year-old. It's virtually impossible. You can't look at a girl who is 16 and then not think she's 16. Like I get girls, they're wearing makeup now and Instagram and TikTok and dance challenges, and I get that. I really do, right? But a 16-year-old looks like a 16-year-old, right? This it's pretty clear for the most part, right? Pretty clear. $10 super chat. Thank you so much for that. All right, so the women, essentially, what you're saying, DQ, is that the women need to let you lead a little bit more in some areas. Let me ask you. Let's ask a little bit about you, DQ. Are you currently with a lady right now? Are you in a relationship?
Yeah, yes, I'm with a wonderful woman right now.
Okay, so you have a lady that's likes you to lead, and she does everything that you're speaking about right now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the problem that you're seeing or that you're having if you're not having any problems?
No, I'm speaking of as a matter of community, not so much me. I heard someone say once before, that we have a over sexualization of Black girls in the Black community, and that same person said, but I've never seen a dad that taught his daughter how to twerk. But if me as a man sees something like that out in the community, I'm not allowed to speak on it. I'm not allowed to say that that's wrong. If I say it, if I say it, that's wrong, I'm shunned for it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I've personally been in a situation where I've caught some relatives, twerking in the presence of other men, and I've stopped it, and I got the bad end of it. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that I'm talking about. But it's not just from my perspective. There are many men who want to take on that role and from a moral standpoint, to say that, hey, this is not right, it's not cool. These girls should not be doing this, or these boys should not be doing that. Right. And we're just not given that. We're not given that latitude. But then it'll come down to that. There'll be some type of thing that they'll say about men that we should not be in a position to say anything relative to that.
All right. Okay. Thank you, DQ. I appreciate you calling in, man. We're going to go to the next panel member. Thank you, bro. Okay. DQ Jones right there, ladies and gentlemen. DQ Jones. Appreciate him calling in. Kier, I see you waiting so patiently there, Kier. Whenever you're ready to chime in, you just unmute yourself and you fire away, my dear. All right. Well, we covered a lot of ground, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go ahead and go with KP. She's been waiting a while. After KP, we're going with Talon, then Alyssa, then Laura. KP, the floor is yours. You can unmute yourself. Thank you for your patience. What did you think of everything you've heard here tonight thus far? Do you have any personal experiences at the hands of a predator?
Well, I wanted to chime in on basically the conversations that have been at hand so far.
Okay.
It's interesting that, so first of all, I'll say this. Yes, we do have the Cardi B's, we have the Megan Thee Stallions, we have all those situations that, yes, at a certain level, women do need to be held accountable for, and young girls are being influenced by them. But at the same time, with the last person, DQ, asking where to go when it comes to leading the community now, it's gotten to a point where, one, we've got to get to the root of the problem. We have to have the collective of men actually admitting to where they've led us. They've led us to this point.
Yeah.
They've told us in the I'm sorry.
KP, I want to say something really quickly. Up in the Unicorn, it said something, and so did another commenter, Golden Lady. Up in the Unicorn says, how was the topic derailed this way? This is fascinating, right? So Up in the Unicorn also said, weren't we talking about a guy identifying with R. Kelly, right? So essentially this was started based off of Glendon Cameron, right? And somehow it's fascinating with the men that we've talked to, we've somehow managed, just like Golden Lady said here, to a place, and I quote, where she says, where this dude can passive aggressively blame black women for predators in the community. So we started talking about a man that likens himself to R. Kelly and doesn't see anything wrong with what R. Kelly did. And by talking with the men, we've somehow come back to the conversation that accountability needs to be held towards women. This is fascinating, man. This is fascinating. This is absolutely fascinating. But it's tough. It's difficult because the guys come up and, you know, they'll talk and they'll be like, man, you know, I agree. I support it. But we need to, but the women, it's like, damn. That's a great point, y'all. In the chat room, saying that. Yeah, I see you just joined. Welcome. That's a great point made by Up in the Unicorn and Golden Lady, Up in the Unicorn content creator in the chat. Alyssa, we're gonna go ahead and move on. I'm sorry, KP. We're gonna go ahead and move on. I think KP actually jumped down. I appreciate you though, KP. Go ahead. I'll let you finish out your thoughts if you'd like to, KP, before we move on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was kind of going to get back to that point. It's the fact that the men have led us to this point where they've told us what they've wanted through music, through their actions,
right.
And but the thing is, we followed what they said. They said they wanted to be the leaders. They're supposed to be the leaders of us, but we followed what they said, and then now it's a problem, and then now it's to the point where they're saying, what do we do? And it's the women's fault, but it's like, you have the people like the R. Kellys that have made the music that have the lyrics talking about seems like you're ready. Sounds like he's talking about a young girl. So these men who have been leaders and people that the community have looked up to, they've led us to this depraved state that we're in. And now it's like, they want to ask, what do we do? And it's like, what are the answers now?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Trey Frey with another super chat, $5, says this person on the line sounds like if dust was a person. I appreciate the continued support and super chats. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and move on here. Talon, I believe, is next up. Talon, the floor is yours. After Talon, we're going to have Alyssa go. After Alyssa, we're going to go with Yaya. Talon, go ahead and unmute yourself. The floor is yours.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, able to hear you perfectly, Talon.
Okay, perfect.
Thank
you so much.
Yeah, it's a little quiet. If you can get a little bit closer, go ahead. You can get as close as you can to the microphone.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, a little bit of feedback, so we'll try and make it quick, okay?
Okay, sure thing. So, deductive versus inductive reasoning. Our community, or lack thereof, the collective that we have at this point, is fraught with the inability to differentiate between the two. The loveliness, I think it's Deanne in the corner. I absolutely love hearing everything you have to say on this topic, and you as well, Truth, because we're really talking about an existential crisis. We don't have an infinite amount of time relative to this issue or any of the other issues that we face. And I think that the most constructive use of time and scale would be to make sure that people are able to engage in inductive reasoning or deductive reasoning. So that's basically not assuming that if you pull your hand into a pot of apples and you pull out a red apple, you pull out another red apple, you assume all the apples in the pot are red. You don't know that. You base that off of an assumption. Right. You would have to vet that and be a little more Vulcan and analytical to figure out what's going on. The conversation was derailed because of those two men. And this is something that we see time and time again. But at the end of the day, I think that one of the habits that would be really wonderful to be formed in these kind of conversations is to measure.
We're going to go ahead and we're going to have to wrap this up, my dear. I appreciate you, though. Go ahead.
Hello? Oh, I'm sorry.
You're fine.
I think it's probably the wind in my room trying to figure out where it's coming from. But all in all, I just want to say thanks for what you do. Thanks for Deanne and everything that you bring to the table. And when people are not able to engage in anything that seems analytical, they're asking for measurements and they're not willing to stand by that. I love and support you, True, and you cut them off. I think it's great. So.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. I appreciate Talon calling in. Thank you, Talon. I appreciate you. I'll go ahead and take it down. All right. We're going to go ahead and move on here. Let's see. Who was next? I have no idea. Cannot remember. I believe it was I believe it was Yaya, I want to say. So Yaya, the floor is yours, Yaya. I appreciate you joining in for camming up. It's always good to have those camming up on the screen. Makes it more interesting and fun for us. So Yaya, what did you think about tonight's message? R. Kelly, the pedophilia, and the manosphere, or a personal experience or story that you had, perhaps?
I guess for me, this is pretty normal. This kind of language that men have with each other on the manosphere is normal for me because I grew up with my brothers and my cousins talking to each other like that, in that way, and the way that they talk about women have always been like that. And I grew up with an uncle who molested his daughters, and he was still at the parties, at the family parties. He was still around us. Like, my dad made it a point to make sure to tell us not to be around him and to watch him when he came around, but he still was allowed in our space. So I just am grateful that this is finally becoming a conversation for the community. And in that way, and the way that they talk about us have always been like that. And I grew up with, sorry.
Nyla, I had to put you on mute, Nyla. Sorry. Go ahead.
So I hear this thing about leadership and having that kind of responsibility, taking on that kind of responsibility. But I'm from upstate New York. I grew up in the hood. That's all I ever knew. And always being on survival mode, like we've talked about on your channel before. I didn't know I had that autonomy to make a decision to be effective for others or myself. I always thought that life just happened to me, or that it was just the way that it was.
Right.
So I feel like our community is really just waking up. And I can't say that I'm mixed, but I feel that I'm just American. But my dad is from Puerto Rico. My grandmother was from Puerto Rico. But to me, it's like, it's the same trauma through our ancestry when it comes to being in a poor neighborhood and not having that leadership, not even in females. Like, my matriarchy in my family is different now.
Okay, and we're gonna wrap it up here in a little bit. Yeah. I just want to give you your final words. You're fine.
I guess I really just want to say that these are the hard conversations that I've always wanted to have in my family and in my community. So it hurts and it's ugly, but this is the process to the solution. And I just want to thank you for choosing to be the process and leadership to our community.
I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you calling in, my dear. I appreciate that. Oops, I'm about to end the meeting. I'm tripping. I gotta learn this thing, man. Thank you once again. Yeah. We're gonna go ahead and move on to let's see. If I get the order wrong, y'all, I'm so sorry. Well, let's go with Nyla. After Nyla, we'll go with Laura. Laura, I see you on the very end. Nyla, then Laura, and then we'll give everybody a second chance to kind of come back up to discuss once again collectively. Nyla, unmute yourself if you can. The floor is yours. Let's see if Nyla. Okay, Nyla, I think, disappeared, so Nyla's gone, at least for now. Laura, the floor is yours. Laura, if you want to unmute yourself, go ahead.
Hey, it's been a while. Yes. I'd like to thank you once again for what you do, because of Manosphere types. There are some, I'd like to pick apart something that one guy said whose video you showed, saying her parents weren't on her. But then again, if the parents had held her on too short of a leash, she might have ran into his arms anyway, because then she would have sought an escape because there was too much control. In other words, in order to fight for her right to assert any kind of self at all. And however, he would have been better off if he'd waited for her to be 22 first. Okay, I'll just say that.
Okay. Yeah. I feel you, and thank you, Laura. I appreciate you calling in.
Thank you so much.
That. You're so welcome. Thank you, Laura. Yeah, Laura brings up a good point. Good point there. Let's go ahead and move on. I believe, has everybody gone? I believe everybody's gone so far. Kier, you're the only one that hasn't gone, so I'll let you go ahead and speak. Oh, on Solo as well. Solo's in the building. Good to see you, Dasher. Kier, the floor is yours. You can unmute yourself if you want. And how do you feel about the discussion, or do you have any personal experiences or stories you want to share?
I mean, I have my own stories, but they're too personal for me to say online. So
I hear you.
Not a problem. But I didn't. Yeah, but I'm just curious for myself as to when did you guys notice that the conversation was being derailed? Because women can very easily tell when guys come in and they try to derail the conversation because they don't want to talk about it. But what I want to know is, when do you guys figure that out? When do y'all realize that the conversation is being derailed?
Yeah. You know, I think that it happens more often than not. It just depends on what the topic is for the most part, you know, but I think derailment has always been something that's kind of the nature of the channel. It seems more obvious and apparent than others, obviously in a case or a situation like this, due to the severe nature of it. It's pretty apparent, and it can be obvious when we're starting to skirt around the true problem or the topic being discussed, right? So it's pretty easy to see, but this is a common theme here, right? You'll mention something, and then somehow we'll always kind of come right back to the woman at the end of the day, right? Or why don't we talk to the women more? Why don't we do this? The women, right? So I think every live stream, damn near, whenever we talk to guys, whether they be, you know, black guys, white guys, any race of guys, if they're part of the manosphere, then the derailment happens, I'd say 9 times out of 10. Right, because in order for it not to happen, that means that they'd have to accept it as, you know, reality. It'd be accountability, right? That's the biggest problem.
Yeah, I do want to say this. I mean, some guys, they may not like me for this, and honestly, I don't care. I'm just being honest. For women, this is not just a manosphere thing. This is a male thing, period. We have a lot of conversations where we try to talk to you guys, and it's like the minute we talk to you, there's a moment, a minute, a millisecond of derailment. What I want to know is, when we're having these conversations, you as men, when do you guys in your head realize, oh, this guy's trying to derail the conversation? That's what I want to know. When do you guys realize that? Because we realize that instantly because we're women. We understand when guys try to derail the conversation because they don't want to talk about what we go through as women because of men. But I want to know for myself personally, you guys as men, when do you pick up on it in your brain that, oh, this guy's trying to derail the conversation? Oh, she's trying to derail the conversation. When do you guys pick up on it?
I pick up on it as soon as it happens. What I start doing, though, I formulate a plan to use their own misguided judgment against them, right? So I'll try and use their process of thought or their thought process pattern or whatever against them in a way. So, for instance, the guy that called in a couple seconds ago, and he was saying, well, you know, what about, you know, I believe in 50-50. I believe in this. I believe in that. I believe that women need to find better men, right? And so I say, okay. And so sometimes I will divulge from the path. Is that the right word? From the path, and entertain it or make it seem like I'm entertaining their thought, but really in reality, I'm just trying to get them to understand in their own ridiculous way just how egregious their errors are. So in that situation, I'd be like, okay, so are you a good guy then, right? So since we're going to start talking about whatever you're talking about, let's go ahead and somehow tie it into the message. So I asked him if he's a good guy. He said he's an average guy. He says that he's a decent to average guy, but a woman shouldn't have a child with him or something. Well, I don't know what he just said. All right. So in that case, then his very logic was what was used to be as the rope to hang him, right? In this case, terrible metaphor, but you get what I'm saying. So I do recognize it, but my mind just kind of starts churning to getting us back to the same principle of our channel, right? Which is that it still comes back to the guys at the end of the day, bro. You know, so I follow them down their rabbit trails and chase them depending on, you know, whether or not it's worth the effort.
Do you think that most guys pick up on that derailment naturally? Or do you think that they more than likely, 9 times out of 10, majority of them, they just kind of gloss over it? They don't really notice the derailment themselves.
I think that you're right. I think you're spot on the money. I mean, it takes a lot of psychological awareness, or it takes a person that's just a little bit more, conversationally aware, I guess. It just takes somebody that is thinking while they're talking, right? And not just talking. So some people can see it, some people can't. A lot of the ladies on here, I mean, the ladies, y'all are smart as heck, right? And you're observant, so you guys pick up on when it happens. But there's also no coincidence in you out educating men, right? And so maybe the guys don't pick up on it as much. But once again, going back to the cause of the issue, education's a big issue, right? So in this case, what I just did was essentially we're talking about rabbit trails and when derailments happen. And so I used the derailment in this case to kind of bring it back to what we're talking about all the time, which is education's a huge thing, right? And it kind of brings back that same discussion of, okay, well, the reason that this problem occurs is, education. It seems to be that, the men have a hard time understanding certain principles, certain character traits, accountability, entrepreneurship, whatever it might be. But our women are starting to understand it more. So you pointed out one aspect of education, right, which was psychology, or the breakdown of thought. And you said, how is it that we're able to see it better? Well, it comes down to education once again. So I hope that kind of showed you better than I could explain it to you right there.
Yeah, it does. Thank you. Yeah. I was just going to say one thing and then.
No, you're fine. You say as much as you want.
Oh, thank you. That's nice. It's just that right now I'm getting the same kind of pattern of speech with these guys. I'm hearing the same thing. Either they're giving us an excuse, it's complete denial, it's derailment, or it's the woman's fault.
Absolutely. Kiera, I appreciate you calling in. Before we move on, and we have a couple of new people in here. Thank you so much, Kiera, once again. Thank you so much for everybody that's joined the panel, shared your own personal experiences. If you are sitting in the background and I just don't see you right now, I apologize. I'm still kind of new to everything going on Zoom. Nyla, I'm going to let you go in 1 second. Just give me 1 second, Nyla. $5 super chat came in from Conundrum93, says, I didn't derail. I said it's our men, in quotations, I'm sorry, in parentheses, responsibility to fix this or seal with it, or I guess stay with it. So Conundrum says he didn't mean to derail the conversation, y'all. Thank you, Conundrum, for clearing that up. Let's see. Pledian says, I love the honest truth. He is the honest truth. I love you as well, Pledians. I try my best, Yes, it is a can of Red Bull, Diana. Nyla, the floor is yours. Go ahead, Nyla. I appreciate you joining us tonight. Did you have a personal story, experience, or a commentary you wanted to speak on specifically with the R. Kelly case or with Mr. Glendon Cameron?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you perfectly.
All right. So I'm just going to comment on basically them saying that there should be a 50-50 in responsibility. And we are talking about preteens. We are talking about teenage girls. The responsibility, whether that preteen or teenager, always goes to the person over 18 in a court of law. Regardless of what she wears, regardless of if she consents, it always goes to that 18-year-old, 25-year-old, 30-year-old, or 40-year-old. Patriarchy has forever subjected women to forcibly dating men way above their age by forced submission. Okay? For decades, Black men have been dating. If you look at your grandparents, your great-grandparents, the age gap is so huge. There are 13-year-olds, they were 13, and the man was 25. If you ask all your great-grandparents, your grandparents, there was a huge age gap. And also, I love how men how we see the sexual assault statistics of 60% of Black girls being molested, raped, and by uncles, pedophilia, uncles, family friends, predators, just random predators around. We see the statistics, and then we can't connect it to young girls acting out. We all know when you get raped at a young age, your chastity is gone. So you act more promiscuous because of the man that raped you.
Right.
If you are promiscuous as a young girl, that 18-year-old or 30-year-old man should get you help. He should not continue even
Absolutely.
even after he heard that man heard that girl was how old, 16, he continued to have sex with her.
Right.
In a court of law, you will be sentenced and committed to the bottom of that prison. The no snitch game going on with men seeing other men dating underage girls needs to end. You need to call the cops, call the FBI, call the cops, report these men. There's no containment, there's no safety for Black girls. Okay,
None.
if you want your sisters to be happy, if you want Black girls to look happy, to not being introverted or scared of people, you need to help these girls and report these men to the FBI. That's all I gotta say.
Quite possibly the comment or the commentary of the night, to be completely honest with you, Nyla. I can't thank you enough for saying that. You bring in so many fascinating and interesting points, but your latest, or the latter of all of them, being the most fascinating, and that is that I mean, it's you said so much right there. Actually, it's not even really the latter, but I guess the second to last, that the 18-year-olds or the elders should be the ones to help the misguided youths, right? So even if it is legal, which I still don't know if I'm looking at the laws right, even if it is legal for you to have sex with a 16-year-old, you should have enough moral drive. You should have enough integrity as a human being to, and I mean, this is still even above the bounds, but to at least try and get into contact with any type of parental figure or something, right? I mean, that should be our duty as a community. I think that's such a huge point, and the one thing that we're all overlooking, which is that what happened to being a good adult to children, right? What happened to the community spankings? And I know obviously this is a far gone foreign concept at this point, but it used to be normal for for somebody else in the community to spank your child or to discipline your child. It might sound far-fetched, and nowadays, people are crazy. You can't do that crap no more. But it used to be normal, where the neighbor would see your child at the end of the inbox being bad, and she would give him a little hand swipe and be like, "I'm gonna go tell your mother." What happened? What happened to that?
Yep. And can I add one more thing?
Of course.
Okay, so the stripper culture just became mainstream a few years ago, okay? Like 3-4 years ago, recently. Before that, rap music was all about bitches, whores, sluts, all of this. So when you're calling women sluts and bitches and say they did it to themselves because they're dressing that way, or they're whores because they look like a whore, who do you think started that culture? It went from fuck the police to fuck bitches, okay? That stripper culture, if women have to make way to do what they have to do to survive, because 70% of men in America, Black men in America, don't want to be fathers, then they have to do what they have to do. Just like Black men had to do what they had to do and sell drugs to their own community and make crack babies because they were selling drugs to their own women and their own people.
Damn. Oh, you were saying something now. I appreciate that. Nyla. Thank you so much for your input. We'll see you on the next panel, okay?
Yep, no problem.
It's deep. That's deep. That's deep. That's deep. I see somebody else in the back. Give me 1 second. Your fave.
Recording in progress.
Oh crap.
Recording stopped.
I don't know how this works. Sorry about that, y'all. I'm trash. Okay, your fave. Unmute yourself, your fave. The floor is yours. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up here in a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. We have a few more people to speak. We're going to let Go10 and Solo Dasher speak. Both should be very entertaining perspectives, to say the least. Your fave. The floor is yours. Go ahead.
I'm gonna send you a YouTube video on Zoom.
Please do. I'm struggling.
You know, I'm not surprised. It's been what, a week now since this came out, and the outrage is not really there.
Right.
The outrage isn't there.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I heard Solo TV went in on him, and maybe two of the lead attorney, and I think like one other guy, but that's it. Everybody else have been making some kind of excuse. You know, Edward Anderson had a panel with his thoughts because, you know, he used to speak highly of Glendon, and yeah. And then what, I wasn't surprised by this, but I was disturbed by it, kind of. You have a police officer who's in the Black Manosphere, and he has the mentality of, well, when you were in high school, you were getting picked up by 23-year-olds. So what is the problem? You guys are being hypocrites, yada yada yada. And this man is a whole officer in his 40s, and
a police officer.
Say that again.
He's a police officer.
Yeah, it's Officer Faulkner. I didn't want to say his name, but yeah, it's Officer Faulkner. He's in the Manosphere, the Black Manosphere. That live stream is still up, I believe, on Edward's when he had the panel with other people. And
if you can find that live stream, please email it to me. If you can find that, I'd really appreciate that.
Is your email in your bio?
Yeah, it's in my bio, my about section. It'll be there.
Okay, I'll send it to you.
Please send me that. Yeah, with a timestamp if you can. I'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, it was really disturbing. It's a whole debate of consent, like you guys were having in the chat room.
Right.
It was a whole debate of consent, where the line is drawn. You know, it's you know, this is legality versus morality, and all of a sudden, you know, the Black community wants to act like it has morals and etc. And it's like, well, do you guys not have self-control? I mean,
right. Yeah, they always make it somehow the girl's problem. Like she's,
right. And
like
it's
she's fast.
Yes, you are right. You're right. Women do tend to speak to guys older than them. Yes, that's just what a lot of women, young girls do, young teenagers, young adults, because they are young adults if they're, you know, 17, 18, 19, whatever.
Right.
But you don't have to have any sexual contact with them.
Right. No, and look, at the end of the
Where's
day,
the self-control?
Exactly. Listen,
I know they're developing and they might look older than they are based on their body type, but I mean, it seems like men are ready to risk it all, and it's just really disturbing. The thought process. It seems like this is something that is trying to be semi-normalized in this country.
Right.
And I don't know.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm gonna cut you off right here, but you bring in some incredible points. You're very right about that. There is no outrage. There hasn't been any outrage for this. I haven't seen any Manosphere guys even make a video on this. I think I saw Abba and Preach make a video on this, and they're not even a Manosphere. They're just normal YouTubers, and they'd cover something like this. But I haven't seen anybody talk about this, especially anybody that he's tied directly to, right? And he mentions guys in the Manosphere in the video, right? This is crazy. This is crazy. It literally shows you what they think. It shows you how they feel from their mouths. We say this all the time, right? But they're so empowered. They feel like they're so emboldened. They feel like they're in so much in the right. They research the law so much that now they're willing to sit online and tell you exactly how they feel. Right? It's very, 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 very interesting. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to wrap this meeting up right here. If you want to have follow-up conversations, give Uppity Unicorn an email. Uppity Unicorn has conversations on her channel that we don't have time to have a conversation on here, but from a different perspective. And I really like listening to her content. So you have to be sure to definitely check her out. Email her, reach out to her, let her know a specific topic that we had on this show that you'd like to further discuss there. And I'd like to actually join the conversations and start, continuing them, because as much as I'd like to continue them, I think that we could really touch a lot of different topics and perspectives, especially how Uppity Unicorn approaches the situations from a one-on-one dynamic. So I believe it's uppity at uppityunicorn.com. Email is in the live chat. Should be in the description as well as after I end this video. I appreciate all 311 people that are still here. Listen, everybody in the Zoom meeting, I love you. I'm going to end the Zoom meeting. This is the only way I know how to do it. I appreciate y'all for being here. I see the waves goodbye. I wish I could put it on the screen. Hold on. I'm going to put it on the screen. There we go. We have all of our members here waving goodbye. I wave goodbye to you as well. That's awesome. And we'll see you on the very next one very soon. Ladies and gentlemen.
I got something to say.
Okay, Goten, we'll save it for next time, Goten. Not this time, okay?
Okay, hashtag for the culture. And it's Goten Boro Yaku Huggins. All right, remember the name.
All right, Goten. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, Goten has left the building as well as our other friend Dasher. But Dasher, he just don't worry. Dasher said everything he needed to say. Man, a few words. I think we're going to end this where some of our panel members ended it. There's no outrage from this, right? Guys really don't care about this. Moreover, guys will sit here and subtly try and get to us justifying the situation, right? I understand situational nuance, right? I get that, there's a gray area for the illegalities of teens and this and that, whatever it might be. I get it. I really do. But we have a serious problem on our hands right now. Very serious problem. And it's not being talked about enough. Right? It's not being talked about enough. Right. Most guys are too much in their feelings. They're too hurt. They're too hateful to talk about, this problem in particular. That is the trafficking, the sexing, the over-sexualization, the statutory rape of children or minors. However you look at it, either way, it is a bad situation. Situation that will continue to get worse so long as the numbers of the Manosphere continue to grow. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. I know it was a more different live stream than usual. I want to thank you for everybody that's a channel member. Make sure you pick up your channel membership. New video dropping tomorrow, I promise. And more videos dropping thereafter. I want to thank all of our channel moderators for moderating this content tonight and making it a troll-free section. I want to thank you for joining me again with another 3 hours on your Saturday evening. I hope wherever you're watching, or your Saturday morning, wherever you're watching across the pond, or whether in the continental United States or Southern America as well, any one of our continental friends beside us, if you're in Asia, Australia, wherever you are. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope you got something from this. Protect your little ones. Protect your loved ones. If you're a parent, do as much as you can to be as observant and as astute as possible on technological advances, apps, password protections, key loggers if need be. Follow your children. They're children at the end of the day. They think they know everything, but there are men like this out here, men like Glendon Cameron, men by the thousands, if not the millions, out here who are waiting for your little girls or your little boys to cross over to their side of the street, right? They're out there. They are out there. My email, your favorite persuasion, is thehonestTruthYT@gmail.com. It's in the live chat box. thehonestTruthYT@gmail.com. Reach out to me. I said I was going to respond to all the business emails yesterday. I did not respond to them. That's my apologies, but it's going to be very soon. This is going to wrap it up for us, ladies and gentlemen. The outro is on the way. Make sure you like the video on your way out. Make sure you subscribe, all notification to the bell on. Check out our affiliated companies as well as our sponsored companies in the description box. Check out all the other links. Shop on Amazon through my affiliate links. We're going to continue this conversation, right? There's a lot more that needs to be said. We're going to continue this conversation. There are going to be more parts in the future. If you want to hear more about the pedophilic manosphere or hear part 1 that I did in March, make sure you check out the pedophilic manosphere, part 1, the dark truth, and that something is very wrong. That's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. I'll see you on the very next one very soon. I love you. I'm out.